The Sunday Sequence Break.
We did it. We did it. Yes. Hello. Welcome, everybody. I'm pretty sure I got this right. We got an epic crescendo. I managed to mute the music some way through the intro of the Final Fantasy soundtrack, but that's okay. Because right now, it is episode 13.5. Yeah? We had a window of a window of 10 and we hit it. It's episode 135 of the Sunday Sequence Break. And we're doing Final Fantasy XIII. Some would say the best Final Fantasy. And if any of you argue about that in the chat, you're getting banned. So just to keep in tune with Final Fantasy streams, we're rolling with it. Joining me on this epic journey into Final Fantasy XIII, as always, is our resident F name beginning with F haver, Fiesel.
Hello there.
Fits in with the theme. I also have an F, so that works too. Gildersneeze doesn't have a 13 beginning his name, so
you can have yourself.
Yeah, so it's alright, don't worry. And
my name.
Your internet is not happy. Our guests, speaking of not happy, and people not happy to be here, we have our very special guests, all the way from the same place I'm from, MLSTRM.
Sup?
And all the way from the same place Fiesel and Gildersneeze are from, we have LewdDolphin.
Hello.
There you go. For those not playing along at home, that's England and America. So there you go. It's good, just in case you couldn't tell by the accents. Now, this was quick. That was quick intro. So we'll go straight into recap. It's pretty easy.
Right, cool.
This was simple. Nice.
Pretty easy.
Fiesel, what have you been up to this past week?
Oh my goodness, what have I been up to? Well, speedrun-wise, I've been just putting together what I'm planning to submit to SGDQ. I haven't finalized the list yet, but I need to make that decision pretty soon, I think. I was working on Wizards and Warriors. That was of the 20 games from the NES Marathon Race the previous week. I think that's the one I was most interested in playing again. So I played some Wizards and Warriors this week, wanted to see if I really tried to learn any percent, you know, the real world record strats, how long it would take me to do that. Turns out it didn't take long to get down within, you know, reasonable shooting distance of the world record. I got a 13:10, which is about 5 seconds away, but I had a particularly lucky level 1. I think in general I'm probably going to be about 10 seconds behind that run, you know, in general coming out of the level 1 RNG, but it was pretty encouraging, and I think I'm going to continue that.
Nice.
I also played a bit of ActRaiser because I watched the tasks of it and the run that's on SDA, and it's a very interesting game. I really like the simulations parts of it, which is sort of the kind of the boring part depending on your perspective, but I hadn't realized there was so much depth to how the building happens and whatnot. There's a lot of, you know, hidden stuff that's not really shown in your heads-up display. So it's pretty neat just sort of understanding how that worked, and I read the guide on population maxing, which I guess has a bit to do with speedrunning because you want to be able to grow the town really fast to be able to access the later levels. So it's pretty neat stuff. So I may do some of that on stream at some point. We'll see. Other than that, just basically working on SGL things, trying to prepare for the next version of the SGL broadcast software. Just started working on programming that. So lots of good stuff this week.
Nice. It's very what do you say? What's the opposite of doing nothing? I have never not done anything, so I don't know what the word is.
Never even heard the word.
Productive. It's very productive.
Activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
well done.
productive.
Well done. Gildersneeze, what have you been up to this past week? And I know we should really put Feasel at the end because he usually puts us to shame. Even when he's not done much, it's like, yeah, I mean, I saved a puppy and I cooked a 4-course meal for all the homeless people in my town, and I mean, I didn't do much.
I finally started making a few serious attempts at Demon Head, sub 20 attempts. Really want to put one of those runs away. Got a monster first split, and so that was very encouraging because the first split is actually the most difficult of the game. Just the lead up to it, the boss at the end of it, and such like that. I was minus 3.3 with a lucky 2 cycle and the new route through, or the new strat I've got in 9A. So I was really happy to see that, and then I borked it on the next route immediately. So that was fantastic. It was good play, but once it comes together, that game will be destroyed, and hopefully I can move on to other speedruns. I've played a little bit of Trials.
Do you know how many times you've said that? Do you know how many?
Yes.
Yeah. Just thought I'd like, just don't want to be pessimistic.
But
I'm just saying.
I played a little bit of Trials and held kind of an emergency marathon for a friend of mine who lost his job and needed to raise some emergency funds to get some dental work done. So as his benefits were going to vanish tomorrow, actually, so he needed to make a copay to get an abscess tooth work done. So that kind of took away some time from speedrunning to just do some casual stuff for people who donated money to help them out. So, but it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
So, and it helped a buddy. So cool. It's cool. That, and I've been prepping for the Southern Speedrun Summit, where I'll be running Demon Head. That is coming up in 2 weeks, I do believe. Let me check the calendar here to make sure that I'm right. Yeah, it's the 20th through the 22nd.
There you go.
So yeah, that's coming up shortly.
Nice. So I was just double checking on my calendar that you were right. You're about right. Okay.
It's close enough to 2 weeks for government work.
Yeah, let's see. I've been playing Dragon's Crown with Bangera. We're trying to figure out if we can make it a co-op speed game, because we wanted to do something co-op together. And two of the 3 game deciders for ESA, so it's pretty much it. We figured it'd be easy. No, we're trying to figure out what to do, if we can even do it. So we've been playing a bunch of that. Aside from that, I have done not much speedrunning. Other stuff, but that's real life stuff that's boring. You don't want to hear about that because it's not speedrunning. So aside from that, really not much. Just Dragon's Crown. Yeah, no, that's it. That's it. Simple. Maelstrom, what have you been up to in the past little bit?
Well,
Yeah.
about a week ago, Lude ended up being my 13th time, and so for last week we've basically just been grinding attempts. That hasn't been fun. We'll probably talk about that one later.
Yeah, okay, maybe bring a bit more energy. Bring a bit more energy to the talk about it later.
Things that have gone well. Things have gone well. I've been practicing a couple of my other ESA submissions just off stream, just like doing a couple of levels every now and again just to stay in practice. And then also been working on putting together 2 things. The Final Fantasy XIII Trilogy Relay, which we're now getting to the point where we can choose a date for. So we don't have anything except for that yet, but that should be soon, like in the next couple of months. And also, me and a couple other people have started to put together work for making a full Final Fantasy series relay as well.
Oh wow!
So
oh yeah, the main 1 to 13, right? Minus 11.
Yeah, minus 11.
Yeah.
11 doesn't count.
No.
But that's been interesting.
Better get that out there before no one wants to run Final Fantasy 15, right?
Yeah, sure.
While they're all covered. While they're all covered, get it out there now.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's cool. Yeah. I mean, if anyone wants to learn 2 or 3, contact me because we need people for that. But
that's good.
Shameless plug. But yeah, that's about it.
Nice. All right, Lude, what have you been up to? I mean, I feel like half of your recap was already been stolen. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
Maelstrom took it,
So much.
but
So last
God.
Saturday I beat my PB on console, and then 3 days later Maelstrom beat that by 3 seconds on PC.
Yep.
And for most of this week we've been grinding runs to get sub 520, because for console that's basically the dream, and for PC it's a given, and he still hasn't gotten it yet. So it's,
Yeah. I'll go with that.
you can't. There's only so many
Yeah.
times you can tune into Maelstrom's stream to see him down 6 and then up 4 and just sitting there like fuming, just like furious at everything. Oh,
Yeah, I had
you really
one of
want to
my,
talk about Furious.
it's like barely reading the chat, like.
Yeah.
but no, it's a friendly competition between us and Maelstrom.
One of you,
Sure it
yes. Between
Well,
us
we
and
don't
Maelstrom.
hate each other.
I know.
More like us versus the game at this point.
There's Mr. SSD on PS3 out there who was the old bad guy with the fastest loading, and now it's like, yeah, PS3, PC guys. Ugh. Yeah. Anyway, hey, let's keep this intense conversation going and go straight into Final Fantasy XIII stuff, because we're already there and there's no need to slow it down. The game already does that enough on its own. So,
Whoa.
hit the split.
All the rudeness.
There it is. No, let's get rid of the dolphin. Happiness is all gone.
Yeah, get out of here, Dolphin.
Yeah, right.
Oh, jeez.
Let's go. Final Fantasy XIII.
Yeah.
Now, Lewd, seeing as you've been running this game a bit longer, we'll give you the privilege of telling everybody what it is, because, I mean, everyone really would know what Final Fantasy XIII is, but I'd like to, you need to sum it up for the few people who've stumbled in here and are wondering what a Final Fantasy is. So, this is all you.
Well, Final Fantasy XIII is the direct sequel to Final Fantasy XII. No, it's not. No.
Continue the adventures of Van and co.
No, it's the 13th main numbered entry in the Final Fantasy series, which has been running for what, like 30 years now?
25, 26, something like that.
25 something, yeah. It was the first Final Fantasy released on the PS3 console. It was also multi-console released on 360. It's an RPG, technically JRPG, I guess, if there's distinguishers. It is an ATB system, which means that people have to queue up ATBs
Yeah,
in order to be
it's
able to
active time
use
battle system.
abilities.
Active
Yes,
time
that
battle,
word.
for those of you who read the Final Fantasy VII manual. Yeah.
Although it's technically called Command Synergy Battle in 13, but anyway.
Is it? No, isn't ATB?
True, yes.
Oh my god.
Like
Wow.
The
TSSB.
gauge is ATB, but
Yeah.
the full system is Command Synergy Battle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
so,
class-based system, so but you can cycle classes.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are 6 different roles in the game that eventually get unlocked for each character that do various things, such as increase damage against enemies, or just main damage dealing against enemies, or draw enemies' attention towards you so your allies can do things and just reduce damage overall, or heal your allies so you can stay alive, which is a good thing in general.
All sorts of, yeah.
The big new thing was stagger, though, right? That's probably the most important part.
Yeah.
Yes.
The chain gauge.
The chain gauge and the stagger component of the game. So each enemy has its own chain gauge, which gets used in several different ways, but the main way is its damage amplification. So if you see an enemy has a 200% chain, that means that they take 2 times base damage, which is nice. And
We're
they
very
have a certain
conveniently
stagger
in a
point.
fight now. So if you look at the top right where the name is, that's the stagger bar. Very convenient.
Nice.
You can see it.
It's trackers.
Going up,
It's Psychom trackers, so you won't really see it, but it's there.
And yeah, when the bar gets filled at the stagger point, which for this tracker was like 200%, that's
Yeah.
they get staggered, which does various things, namely increases their their chain gauge by another 100 percentage points and allows them, or makes them more able to get interrupted. So, like, if you stagger the enemy, they're all like staggered, I guess is the good word for putting that.
Well, the games can't agree on what to call it. If you look at the translations, it's called a different thing in all of them, so I'm not surprised you don't really understand what to call it. They take more damage, and they don't attack. And
well, they do attack, but you can
sometimes,
cancel out of them for the most part.
They're pretty much,
they're
pretty
more
much
easily interruptible.
It's pretty much the best part about Final Fantasy XIII. And I don't mean that because I mean the game's bad, I mean it because it's genuinely a really cool mechanic. And it's the secret to speedrunning it too, pretty much, right?
Yes.
Yeah, thank God you didn't contradict me. Normally whenever I say that, people are like, actually.
Just go with
like,
everything's fine.
You have to use it to your advantage, because I mean, in a speedrun, use everything to your advantage, and it does get used quite a lot.
It does
in
get
quite
used.
subtle ways sometimes.
All right, so
I mean,
I was going to continue with the intro. What are you going to say? Go for it.
Well, I was just going to say, like, another component of the chain gauge is that it increases the success rate of debuffs, and sometimes you can increase the chain gauge in order to have better chances of inflicting hard
really?
debuffs.
I didn't know that.
In final bosses.
Damn.
So many things are affected by chain.
I didn't know that that's
It also
that.
affects, it also affects debuff duration as a direct multipliers.
Dude,
you
what?
have 3 times the chance of being poisoned and all that long.
Is that the same in?
Are you sure you know how to
Is that the same in the other two?
13-2, yes.
13-2, yes. Life and returns, no.
Okay, thank God. There you go. I'm glad I don't.
That's 8%, so it's fine.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's slightly different 13-2, but I don't want to get into that.
We won't worry about that one. So, right. There's 2 categories in this. One, the normal any percent finish the game. There's no multiple endings or anything like that to worry about, so there's no thing there. There are difficulties, right? But isn't there an expert
only
grid?
International Japanese and so international Japanese version and PC version have easy difficulty.
Right.
But no, that's not a thing.
But no one uses them, yeah. And then there's the.
You can go play it if you want, but it's so trivial that it just becomes mind-numbingly boring.
Yeah. Then there's the has been done, but isn't quite on the same level as any platinum percent. Which is a very entertaining watch, and I hope even if it's in a year from now that you guys do another one, because that was really fun. Which is literally getting the platinum trophy in the game, which constitutes to 100%.
So the platinum trophy on PS3 is all achievements, for those of you not familiar with PlayStation.
Yeah.
So it's just basically an all achievements run. So it's like beat the game, complete all 64 missions with 5-star rankings, do a couple of optional things in terms of fights, and then also
spend an hour buying everything.
Hold at least one of every weapon and accessory at some point on your file throughout the game. There's a lot.
Yeah. Literally an hour of menuing at the end of that run.
Oh, and well, the other important thing this time is putting out the Crystarium on every roll as well, which means there's about an hour and 40 of farming halfway into a 20-hour run, which was quite an interesting segment.
All right.
It was the most boring part of the 5% was the 2 hours of
just to say before we move on, I remember you guys farming Vladislaus, and you're like, this isn't so bad. And that was like the first reasonably length farming section of the whole thing. But okay, I want to know about the history of running this game. Got a little history bit there. It has gone down a surprising amount. Like, time started off around the 6-hour mark, and now they're down to 5:20. So what's the history here? We got 3 things you've written down. So
yeah, so I joined in like a year and 2 months ago. So I'm missing the first 3 years of running this game. I can only conjecture what happened in that, but we
tried looking around with it.
So the oldest resource I can find is a speedrun guide on GameFAQs that is kind of trash nowadays. It recommends basically maxing or grinding for an hour or 2 once you hit the R-Killed step, which is not done anymore. We just run straight through, in my case, singing the Calm Lands theme. But the first bullet point that we have was about shroud counts, which was a major thing because there's a mechanic in this game that the battle score and the battle rating determines the chances of item drops, and basically higher stars gives you better chances of getting rare drops, but it also turns out that lower stars gives you better chances of shroud drops. And it also turns out that earlier chapters have a higher base chance of shroud drops. Shrouds being things that you use before a fight to get some
Buffs and stuff.
status enhancements, buffs, cast on you
we'll
before the
talk about
fight
this.
even
We'll
starts.
For those of you playing along at home,
We'll talk about the specifics later.
for those of you playing along at home, that's another thing I thought was useless or didn't know about before finding out about the runs of this game. So I literally never used a shroud in my first playthrough. Yeah.
Yeah, I hoarded them all. Saved them all for emergencies.
Right, exactly. Then you get to the end of the game.
Has like
Yeah. You get to the end of the game with like 15 of each one, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds alright.
Yeah.
So the shroud counts that I remember farming at, or was used for a route before I started, was 7 Deceptisouls and 4 Fortisouls. But we brought it down to 3 and 2.
Yeah.
Most of the chopping out was because of previous old assumptions that we needed them for fights, like absolutely needed them to win. And then we later found out, no, that's not true at all, and win without them. And sometimes, like in the cases of Deceptisouls, even the ones we still farm are farmed because you save more time overall farming them and using them than otherwise. But we found out some ways of actually saving like 10 seconds by just fighting without the Deceptisoul than by farming it. So it's
So like for every shroud we want to get
3.
extra is like so like each shroud extra counts as like 45 seconds of time or so. So we have to be able to save 45 seconds without it to make it equal in terms of time.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird. It doesn't really work out as you don't need it anymore, so you can just cut it out or if wanted.
And Deceptisouls are like no encounter pretty much. Well, it means that the AI doesn't detect you when you're running past. You can just skip enemies or get preemptive strikes easily, right?
Yeah, they can't see you, but you can still run into enemies and get caught in encounters.
Yeah.
I mean, like, one of the main differences with this game to the older games is that there's no random encounters. All the enemies are, like, spawned on the world, and if you walk into an enemy, you'll activate the battle. And so if you have a Deceptisoul, they can't see you, so you can just walk straight past them and not have to worry about them chasing you down.
Yeah.
But it also means we have a lot of tech in terms of dodges, which you're seeing now, although it's just finished. That's a pretty cool dodge section.
Yeah. So then the main thing, like just in a few words, what's the main way you're able to not grind? Like what do you do instead of grinding?
You fight better.
The no grinding is specifically referring to a fight in the Archaeal Steppe, which a lot of people used to grind casually, which is Behemoth King and MLSTRM. And it used to be you farm there for a while to get some extra Crystarian points to do just some more upgrading, I think.
But it's the weapon upgrading which is like the main part that allows you to do well, isn't it? Or a significant part? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
it's a significant part because you're not you don't have as much Crystarium points to spend in the Crystarium as the result of not grinding, so you don't really have much in the way of base stats. So all of your stats, all of your strength comes from your equipment and your accessories, and they are upgraded as effectively as we can, and they actually, I think, triple our base stats off the top of my head.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Like, I know Fang's weapon is giving her about 100.
Fang's one
strength.
was the sole reason I finished the game, because I just loaded it into that and it became about 3 to 5 times as good.
If you want to know the stats directly, I could load up the game.
It's alright, I don't think we're that bothered. But the important part is...
the upgrading is much more effective for giving us stats than Crystarium is by a long way.
Indeed.
Yeah. Alright, so we got some older times here. I know it was around 6 hours for a long time before Zoning 1138 got on the scene, but he ended around 5:36:30, it says here. Then courtesy of Dolphin and Lewd. Well, Dolphin got it down to 523.36, and then courtesy of the two guests we have here, it's now down at 521.19 by Maelstrom, and Lewd has a 3 second slower time. PC version's faster loading. And
this is with menu lag though. We haven't timed out the differences, and we keep meaning to, but we're both lazy.
It's alright, Lewd. Maelstrom came into a game I play and used superior loading times to beat my times too. So.
The Maelstrom way. We were joking about, like, I think there's a rumor earlier today about 10.2 HD being released on PC.
Final Fantasy X has a PC listing on Amazon France at the moment.
All right. Do you think you'll be able to skip cutscenes? Yeah.
No.
Would there really be?
I did like my first run. Sorry.
I'm thinking, would there even be significant time difference in 10 though?
Yeah.
I don't remember
the loading.
I don't remember the loading being that bad. But
PS3 HD versus like normal normal PS2 is like 10 minutes different faster or something with an SSD.
Snap. Okay. With an SSD though. Okay. All right.
Let's say install to an SSD versus PS2, but then PS3 disc is slower than normal.
All right. Okay.
It's enough to make a difference, but yeah.
Let's get into some trick stuff. We have a whole veritable host of highlight videos. Hang on, how many are there? There's not 13. I think there's 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
10.
8, 9, 10, 11 with the filler video. So close.
Okay.
Anyway, it's probably not healthy to share this game's obsession with the number 13, so we'll move in. We got a very key part of this game is dodging fights, which is a surprisingly large amount of fun, and quite a lot of thought goes into some of the more awkward ones. So we have a dodge targe as created by Lewd here, and we're going to play that, and we might play it repeatedly and do whatever you want to do while I'm playing this video, and go for it.
Okay, so we're playing the montage first.
We're playing in the montage first.
Yeah, we have just a random collection of dodges, some of the cooler ones that aren't just run around and hope the things don't see you. So the first one we've got here is to Orion fight in Chapter 7. Now, if you do this thing by looking at the ground, it's called camera tricking, or like we call it camera tricking. And it basically tricks enemies into not seeing you until later. And there, normally what happens is the Orions will come straight down and get you.
Don't worry, I'll repeat it.
Okay. So the two Orions will normally come straight down the slope and see you, but if you camera trick, they don't move until later, and so you can get to just the end of the area before they actually manage to run forwards and catch you.
Just a tip for those watching at home: check the radar in the top right, and the red dots will be the enemies. Yes. So if they're looking at the ground, it might be easier for you to tell what they're dodging by looking at the mini-map. So yeah, there you go. For you who are looking at home and thinking this is getting GoldenEye flashbacks right now, there you go.
Like reduction.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's not for frame rate,
first person. What?
Yeah. Yeah. So the second one is kind of one that isn't a case of we can just run past. So here you can see this enemy is called Thermodon just in the way, and the strat here is basically to lure it out, and then after you walk out of a battle zone, if an enemy noticed you, it'll then turn to look at you and then go back into its neutral state. And when Thermodon does that, it backs up, so you can get him to turn around so he's facing the wrong way and then back up into the side corridor.
That's just the way he looks at you for a bit, and then he's like, sorry, hang on. It's like he's trying to steal your parking space or something. Look at him. That's great.
Yeah.
Right.
Some of the
Dude, good
lures
song.
are really fun.
Okay. Sorry. My host privilege. Okay, next one.
It's a good song.
Some fun elevator dodging.
Yes. Chapter 10 has two of these elevators where enemies spawn and chase you around for the entirety of the elevator fight, and you can just basically have some fun with them.
This would be a really good GIF. This should have been your GIF.
Just get it running around in like perfect circles. But yeah, basically you can just bait these out in like as long as you need to until the elevator stops and then just run away. The second one is in some ways more impressive if you've played the game, because the second one is, you see these bird enemies here with the behemoth.
Birds.
So birds are, oh my god, birds are terrible.
These are
They like to do that
succubuses, aren't they? The succubuses, aren't they? Yeah.
And also Yashiki
In
and
chapter
there's
4, there's succubus.
Oh.
Yeah. I think here,
They have like different
Yashiki.
names too.
Yeah, but if they see you, they will charge at you, and they go really, really fast. And it's
The
horrible.
yellow one's the fast one. If he moves, it's over. The brown ones can sort of hit you strangely, but the whole goal of this is to just keep running to keep the yellow one facing away from you and to deal with the brown ones as they do things.
Luckily, it's a lot shorter than the bombs, but it's still a very sketchy point.
Yeah, it's a bit of a scary thing when you reach this point and you're like, well...
Do you go for it, or do you use the Decepticon? Because
Yeah.
if you get into the fight, it respawns the elevator back at the top.
Oh, really?
You retry. So
Huh.
you lose a load of time from doing it. But if you use a Decepticon, because you go out of the elevator to cancel it, you're already at the bottom, so it doesn't respawn at the top. So Decepticon loses 10 seconds off it perfect, but getting into the fight loses time.
I like this one.
And here, this is a really cool dodge. We lure these two guys off to the side, and then you put Decepticon so they don't react to you, and you just run straight past.
Yeah. They will block you otherwise.
And it's...
Yeah.
And it looks like you can't really make it past, but Fang is really skinny, and she can, like, do a lot of things that other characters
Yeah,
can't.
like,
Whereas, Saz
yeah.
can't do this.
Vanille's skinny too, but she tends to wave her arms everywhere, which loves to swing into enemies, so...
Vanille, Saz, and Snow have the 3 larger hitboxes. Hope Lightning and Fangs will have smaller kind of hitboxes for enemy dodging. So if we get a choice, we'll usually use one of those 3 to dodge if we need it.
We've got a bit at
Like
the end
here,
of this.
at the end of this
Yeah.
section. Okay.
Yeah, you should
At the end
explain
of
this.
the next section.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
I thought
So
you...
here, oh yeah, no, yeah, okay, so yeah, here's something called Decepticon cancel. So every enemy has a battle zone, and if you go out of that battle zone, they can't see you anymore. And if you use a Decepticon, obviously you can run straight past them, but we want to keep the Decepticon for as long as possible. So if you run past the battle zone, and then run back in, and go into the fight, and then retry, what happens is the game respawns you at the last point you entered the battle zone, but you keep all the things you had before you retried the fight. So we get the Decepticon back, but we're behind the enemy that we dodged. So that gets used a lot to just not have to deal with fights, basically.
It's really OP, but I mean, like, I call it the Decepticon penalty in that you have to retry a fight and reload the area, which takes about 10 to 15 seconds. So that's why we don't do it for every dodge, but only the harder ones.
Yeah.
And there's a Japanese category where you don't cancel Decepticons.
Yeah, they
It's just
ban
not
it.
allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah, Japanese weird categories, not surprised that they've come up with another one.
Yeah. So this is just kind of a cool section of dodging, really, with a Decepticon. So, like, even with a Decepticon, things aren't, easy. We still have to deal with enemy patterns, and those panthers especially are really quite annoying. And, we actually switched to Lightning switched to Vanilla at the end of that corridor, but leaving it as Lightning means that she's slightly skinnier, so it's easier to do the dodges. And here's a few just 3 kind of really neat, really dumb soldiers, basically. You can just kind of run past different ways, and they just let you go past them.
They run up to you and stop, and they're like, nah.
The only hard
much.
one is the last one, because the guy in front will charge at you and outrun you, but like by running wide around him, he kind of like exhausts his path and slows down to catch his breath or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And this is probably one of the coolest dodges in the game.
These bird
If
things
you didn't
there.
know about this casually, you want to do this, okay? This is
Yeah.
a really annoying fight here with something called the Mega Refresher, but we can skip this guy because he actually has an accurate hitbox and you can run straight through his legs and cancel it on the back.
That's
And you
amazing.
don't have to do that fight.
So many of those enemies you ran
And
past are
that is
a
a really
pain.
hard fight.
I find I don't know what they actually are called in this one, but the Sahagins bad enough, which are
Yeah, they are
coming
called
up on the
Sahagins.
left. They beat the crap out of me on my first playthrough. They almost made me quit at this section because I was not very leveled. But,
Yeah, they're pretty nasty.
yeah, so the Sahagins here, but this guy's hitbox is pretty great.
Yeah. When I was playing casually, I actually used the speedruns for like references for a couple of things just because I was having some issues. just kind of wanted to see how, like, you know, the pros did the fights or whatever, and I went through Auden's, like, this chapter when I got near the end of it, and I saw that, I was like, you could do that? Why couldn't I do this?
Alright, and then we got a
That fight took me
special.
hours.
We have a special
Okay, yeah.
legendary dodge video.
It's right at the front, so you might want to, like, replay the start.
Ah, that's fine. I'll go back to the beginning.
The first dodge in this section, so in chapter 1, the game is split into a few sections where you control different characters. And in Snow's section, there's this dodge here, which is 3 soldiers and 2 Pantherons. And we call it the legendary dodge, because it's absolutely insane. We can't control it, there's no way to manipulate it, and if you get it, it's like 40 seconds saved for free. And it's disgusting.
But knowing, like, it's such a random thing. Because, like, you need to manipulate enemies to run in the right direction and then still be skilled enough to dodge with Snow past them. And
you basically just need to get the 2 Pantherons to run as far as you can and then stand to the side while they run past you and hope there's enough space to get around the back.
Yeah.
And then these 2 dodges afterwards are also quite difficult, but not on the same tier as the legendary dodge.
Like, whenever I do the legendary dodge, my heart skips a beat, and then I have to do these dodges, like, with adrenaline going on. And it's quite challenging sometimes.
It's one of those things. There's definitely a few points in the run where you do a fight or whatever, it's like, oh my god, ah!
The other thing with dodging is it's something a lot of people didn't learn in their first playthrough because they were, you know, enjoying fighting things. Because I don't think anyone would argue that
like,
the best part of the game is definitely the combat, so everyone wanted to do it, so...
Yeah. It's a really surprising amount of, like, tech sealing as well. Like, it's really something that, you know, you can learn how to do, but it takes ages to get really consistent at a lot of the dodges. There's all sorts of, like, little things that they can do slightly differently, and you have to learn over, like, different kind of situations you can get into. Like, we've shown some of the more interesting ones, but even some of the more boring ones have, like, a lot of different things that can go wrong with them. You just kind of have to hope. Like,
every dodge
right
is
there with those bombs.
to fail.
Yes, and has been failed multiple times in any given run.
Alrighty, we got some more stuff then. We got some Shrouds majigs here in the video.
So I guess we should explain Shrouds better now.
Yeah.
So, in the game, there's 3 types of Shrouds. The Septisol we've kind of covered with the dodging. The second one is a Fortisol, and that gives you haste, bravery, faith, and vigilance in a fight.
Just for the record,
kind of like
by the way, this is the video. I'm not moving anything. Just before you in chat, you probably didn't. Just before you in chat start saying, "Oh, Flicky's messing up." No.
Do you skip forward to where near the actual fight starts? I thought I cropped out the rest of this fight.
You didn't. I can skip.
Oops. Yeah, eventually it syncs up with 2 fights. I don't know. How long's the video?
There you go.
Foreman.
Okay, cool. There we go. It synced up eventually. So here in the bottom right we have the Enki and Enlil fight with a Fortisol, which is the Shroud I just explained, and in the top level we don't. And basically, haste, it fills your ATB bar quicker, so you can do things faster. Faith gives you more magic power. Bravery gives you more physical power. And vigilance means that you're less likely, well, the attacks don't interrupt you as much. Like, strong attacks can still interrupt you, but you're less likely to get interrupted by an attack. So we can run things a lot kind of closer to the wire, as it were, because the fight's just a bit safer with Fortisol. The haste gives you more speed, and then also vigilance means you're never going to get interrupted in your castings. So you get your buffs a lot quicker, and you can also be dealing damage and heal yourself without worried you're going to get interrupted.
Haste is nuts in the 13 series. Like, it's pretty good in all of them, but in 13 series it's ridiculously good.
And here, like, this is still kind of... Yeah, here in... it's still kind of early game, so we only have 3 ATB segments. By the end of the run we have 5, and haste makes that, like, well, 4 or 5 depending on the character. But haste makes that ridiculous.
Yeah.
It just fills so quickly. Because the speed it fills is always set, but with haste... So with haste it always fills at the same kind of total time as well, so you're getting each segment faster. So it really stacks up.
So you can also see here, if you weren't already noticing, the stagger gauge in full effect, like how much more damage is being done because of it.
Yeah, and also a small thing that's happening, which you can mention, is every time we shift when Saz's dealing damage, you'll notice that Saz kind of starts doing damage again straight away, and that's something
that you're not very good
called,
at.
Yeah, This fight is weird for it. This fight is like the strangest fight. This is like, we call this the hardest easy fight.
That's what is that
Not
just
hard,
called? Paradigm shift cancelling or something? Because that was something was very
ATB
well.
refresh, we-
ATB. It's something that's very well known. I know nearly everyone I know who
Yeah.
played through the game casually knew about that and did that.
Yeah,
So
and we have a video to explain it a bit better later. But
Okay.
basically what it is if you shift out a certain amount of time, you get full ATB after your shift.
yeah.
So you can
Yeah, the
cancel
exact
the amount
time
of
is-
time you're waiting for ATB.
The exact time is every 12 seconds you get it. That usually works out to be after every other chain of spells. So the pattern is usually do a paradigm shift, do your full ATB, recharge the ATB, do your spells, and then do another shift, and that will usually give you your ATB refresh.
It's not hard to do casually, but I imagine to do it at the right timing in a speedrun is probably a bit trickier, but still pretty doable, isn't
Yeah,
it?
because we don't just use it for ATB refreshing, we also use it for something else where we can cancel our allies' ready animations. So the timing window is a lot stricter on that.
Yeah.
But again, we have something to explain that later, so...
That's fine. Next up, we have about rolls
yeah.
and chain gauge stuff. So we talked a bit about the chain gauge in
Yeah.
Enki, but this is...
So we said earlier that the 6 roles, and the 6 roles are Commando, Ravager, Saboteur, Synergist, Sentinel, and Medic. And Dahaka is a good fight to show off this because it uses pretty much every role fairly equally, except for Medic, because in a speedrun we actually use Medic surprisingly little, because instead what we'll do is we'll burn resources, things like renews and elixirs, in fights where we really need to heal, instead of doing that just because it works out faster.
So,
Like, until
Medic
chapter
is-
10, we use potions because they
Yeah.
are the most powerful thing, especially with doctor's codes. And then starting from chapter 11 is when we start using renews and elixir. And then there are a few fights where we do want Vanille's medic, but yeah, it's very little.
as a quick summary for those, so Commander is like damage dealing,
So-
basically,
Yeah,
What-
Commando...
yeah.
Yeah, so Commando is used for main damage dealing. You have access to things like Attack and Ruin, which is like a generic magical attack.
It's like a physical
And that'll
spell.
be- Okay, yeah, sure. We'll go with that.
Yeah, it is.
It's not an elemental spell.
Alright.
So
Non-elemental
it's main.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so that's your main damage dealing. Ravagers are like the elemental spells, so things like Fire, Blizzard, Water, Thunder, Arrow, and they're mainly used for building up the chain gauge. They give the highest increase to the chain gauge in terms of percentage, so they're mainly used for doing that. And then
Saboteur?
Synergist
Oh, okay, fine.
is. I'm going this way. Sorry, Flicky.
It's fine.
Synergist lets you buff your own party, so you can cast things like Haste, Bravery, and end spells, and which give you elemental affinities to your attacks.
Those are
things like
really
that.
good as well.
Yeah, they are very good. Saboteur casts debuffs on enemies, things like Deprotect, Deshell, and Imperil, which increases elemental weakness, I guess is the best way to put it. It's a bit more complicated than that, but in terms of basic, it's
Also really good.
close enough. Also really good.
Yeah.
Especially in conjunction with end spells, surprisingly. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, Sentinel is like kind
Defense.
of, I guess, yeah, defensive.
It's like a tank.
Fang's Sentinel for most of this fight, and she just basically will stay in something called Metagard, which is where she doesn't take much damage from attacks, and she also recovers her HP. And then there's also like Steel Guard, which is more defensive but doesn't recover HP
There's
during
a
it.
ton of different blocks and taunts, really.
Yeah. And Sentinels can be really helpful for certain fights, just taking away the aggro. Like on Dahaka, he casts pretty strong spells, but Fang can just tank most of them. Like, she can tank like 3 or 4 without dying in a Sentinel. So just leaving her in a Sentinel for most of the fight just lets you kind of do what you want to do and sort things out around her. And then Medic is obviously the healer.
Yeah.
Medic is the easiest probably.
The
one to
only
understand.
self-explanatory one.
Yeah. So Dahaka is a fight that uses pretty much everything equally. So at the start of the fight, can you put it back to the start? Or
Yeah, I can do that. If I click
try
on
and
the
roughly
window.
explain it as it goes along.
There you go.
So, okay, so right at the start, all we do is cast Haste on people just to get the ATB going, and we don't bother casting it on Fang because she doesn't actually need it in the start at all. And then what we do is we shift into mainly, well, something called Mystic, a paradigm called Mystic Tower, which is 2 Ravagers and a Sentinel. and we do some initial training on Dahaka and just heal up because his first attack is pretty strong. And that basically puts the chain gauge up to somewhere in the region of 200%. It's usually more like 180, 190. And like we said earlier, chain gauge also determines things like debuff success and debuff length. So then we're going to switch into Synergist, Saboteur, and Sentinel. That's kind of hard to say. We buff Saz and Fang with Bravery and Enfrost, which increase attack power and also give them Ice Elemental on their attack. Yeah, that one was...
It doesn't matter which element, but...
Yeah, you can use any element.
Like for this fight, it doesn't matter. Usually you would
Yeah.
use whichever one the enemy is weak to, but with Imperil, Dahaka is weak to any element, so...
Yep, and Fang and Vanille at the same time is casting Imperil and Deep Protect on Dahaka, which lowers his element, well, increases his elemental weakness and makes him weaker to physical attacks. And then we stagger him, and then the best thing about Dahaka is when he's staggered, he falls down. And so we can use Saz's Blitz to its full effectiveness. So Saz's Blitz does 8 bullets at point... No, was it 6 bullets at 0.8 damage, or 8 bullets at 0.6 damage?
Bullets. I don't remember what the number is.
But basically,
I know it's
it's like 4 times his normal attack damage in one attack. And every bullet will hit Dahaka because he has such a huge hitbox. So we can just spam blitzes into him.
It's
and
like a
his HP just kind
spray.
of melts away.
It sprays horizontally, so the idea is that's his area of effect attack. But on big enemies, it hits him just several times instead.
Yeah. So it really just lets you deal massive damage with all the things you have. And in terms of just like numericals, because Dahaka is weak to elements and you have Enfrost, it's double damage, right? And then Deep Protect is 1.6 damage and Bravery is 1.4 times damage.
1.89 for Deep Protect.
Okay, so it's like...
Total that
I don't remember the number.
5.282.
Do the viewers want to guess who has a maths degree here? I'll give you a clue. It's pretty much both of them.
Yeah. And also at this point the chain gauge is at 900%, so we're doing 45 times base damage.
Yeah. You can
Yeah.
see it. It
Chain
goes...
gauge and, using things effectively is very, very good.
Alrighty, we got oh, I might have missed a thing here. Proto-Florian.
Proto.
I got him in the wrong order. Where is it? There it is. That's alright.
We
No,
can
I
do
got
the
it.
Dahaka first.
No, we got it here. We're good. This is refreshing.
Yeah, so something we said earlier is ATB refreshing. So we talked about the timing of it, and basically what it is if you switch after 12 seconds, you shift and you have full ATB. And this is really helpful for a lot of fights, because we can just basically continuously make our allies do commands while we do other stuff. Because in a lot of fights, not so much early game, but later, we usually the character we aren't controlled isn't the main damage dealer. So a lot of the kind of Chapter 11 fights, the main damage dealer is Fang, because she has ridiculous strength and she's almost always in a commando. And so although we control Saz and we can do quite a lot of damage with Blitz, we can also use Saz to do things like healing with potions and any other stuff we need to really have done during the fight. So with Proto is kind of interesting because he has a move called Exo-Proving, which gives him resistance to a certain element, and here he has Exo-Proving Ice, which means we need to use Fire. Now 3 of the 4 he can do here are fine, and the 4th one is Exo-Proving Fire, which would require you to use Blizzard, but Lightning doesn't know Blizzard at this point. So if he does that, that's just basically 40 seconds down the toilet for no reason, other than the game hates
You
you.
just postpone the stagger in order to get the element that Lightning has, so...
Yeah. So basically just sit and deal not much chain and a little bit of damage until we can wait for a different element to appear. And then when he's staggered, you can see that every time we shift, we do it right after Hope casts 2 spells. In this case, Fire of Fire. And then he will cast another 2 spells immediately after the paradigm shift. So Fire of Fire, Shift, Fire, Fire. And then when we get to 650% chain, we summon Odin, which is Lightning Summon, and we do some more chaining. And basically the point is, with refreshing, you can constantly keep Proto interrupted, so he can't change his Exo-Proofing, he can't do any other attack, he just sits there and takes chain. And then the nice thing about Odin is his finisher, Zantetsuken, has an instant death property. So we can get in Proto up to about 840% chain and less than 1/3 health. Use Zantetsuken and instant death will trigger and Proto will die.
Wait, is that how you meant to say it?
Exclusive outright.
I always called it Zanetsuken. Is that not right?
Flicky, you stopped the timer again.
Did I? Oh shit.
Nice. Yeah,
It's
you did.
P. It's P because I did a P face in chat. That's why I was trying to talk with the viewers, and that's alright.
God damn it, Flicky.
The important part is it Zanetsuken or Zantetsuken?
I've just said Zantetsuken, but it's
It's spelled
Japanese word.
Zantetsuken. It's got
Oh
a T as
shit.
well.
Okay. Was it called that in the old games?
Yes.
I feel like my life has been ruined. God damn
It
it.
was also called Zanetsu in the shorter games, but have a wiki link.
Damn. No, I don't want a wiki link. I trust you.
Okay, sure.
That's fine.
But yeah, so because of that property, we've just basically set up the fight so we can use Zantetsuken, get instant death on Proto, so we don't actually have to worry too much about damage.
All right.
And to clarify, like Zantetsuken in this game is not like an automatic instant kill, like, or not guaranteed,
Yeah.
rather instant kill.
It's a function of like enemies' HP and chain gauge and
Yeah,
some other
some
things.
enemies like Cypher will just kill Odin instead and it won't work and stuff like that.
No, that's VII, not XIII.
Oh, I'm confusing my Roman numerals, sorry. Alright, next up, we have Bahamut, which I'm pretty sure I'm not saying
Yeah,
wrong.
so Odin is lightning summon, and basically each character in the game gets a summon. And to get the summon, you have to fight the summon.
Yeah,
And this is the fight with Fang summon Bahamut.
the
And
Gestalt
so
fights.
This is a pretty Gestalt fight, yeah.
Oh, don't say
These fights
Gestalt.
don't
I got
work
that
the
one
same.
right. It's Gestalt.
Okay,
How
fine.
dare you say Gestalt?
Okay, fine.
Get out.
Whatever. I'm sorry. All of us speak German here. It's like,
Ugh. Go for it. Carry on.
so yeah, so these fights, you don't win by dealing damage. You win by filling the Gestalt bar.
Good stuff.
Happy? Is that good enough?
That's good enough, yeah.
Okay, good. And so these fights always cast Doom on you, so you have 3 minutes to win the fight, or you die. Instant death. You can't get around that. And so the way the bar fills is from chain increase as opposed to actually dealing damage. So
Well, they're all different.
there's
Oh,
different-
yeah, sorry, this one is. Yeah, my
yeah,
bad.
so that's they're all every fight you have to control the person who's going to get the summon. And so for Fang we have access to the best ways to do it with Fang are using Saboteur and Commando. So we inflict slow and curse at the start of the fight, which just makes it a little bit safer. Bahamut attacks really quickly without slow. Really,
Yeah,
when it gets slow.
that's
And then
slow.
the curse just means that we can attack through whirlwind and stuff without getting launched into the air. But without slow, you just get murdered. It's just
Yeah, these
Oh,
fights,
no.
all the Gestalt fights are really hard the first time through. That might be the first time in a Final Fantasy game that I got to a fight and I was like, I don't know what to do.
Because it's entirely not based on your strength. Like you
Yeah.
can be at 0 stats and still win the fight in the same amount of time.
They're more
Someone
like
has maximum
puzzles than
dexterity, maximum
anything.
weapon.
Like, they're all a
Yeah,
bit
they kind of-
different. Like, Snow's one, right, is just a take damage. And
No.
it's...
Like
Well,
so
so
basically
each
how
of the
it,
6
how it,
roles,
yeah.
each of the 6 roles build the. I'm not even gonna try Gestalt gauge. So like, but for Commando, Ravager, Saboteur, it's based on chain increase to the target with the different like modifiers depending on the role. Like Commando's actually a lot better than you would think, despite the lower
Yeah.
chain increase.
So like
And Sentinel, the increase to Gestalt is based on the
Damage
ability
effects.
that's being used from the target onto you. Like it's not like the damage you take or
Yeah.
whether you're guarding, it's just the special modifier for each attack that is used.
So
And
if you're in Sentinel when an attack's used, you get the bonus, but you don't have to be guarding, you don't have to be provoked or anything. You can just be in the role.
then Synergist and Medic, I don't remember what they are because we don't use
Yeah, I
them.
don't know.
I had a
but-
quick question actually about that. Like, you know when you cast healing spells on your characters, they have a stagger gauge, as it were.
Yeah.
Is that to increase the healing they take, or can you actually put your own characters into stagger?
It increases healing
You
potential
cannot
and
stagger
buff
your
duration.
enemies.
I wanted to be, just wondered if you went like 3 medics and just spam healed one character, if you would put them into stagger and knock them out with too much healing.
I've tried that, I tinkered with it. I mean, we knew the answer was no, but I saw it for myself, and it just maxes at 999.9.
Yeah,
it's a
just
shame.
like actually the Eidolon fights are the same. They have an uncapped stagger, so you can't stagger them. You can get the chain up to 999, but you can't stagger them.
Alright.
He also can't
There's
kill
a video,
them.
Yeah. There's a video on Lewd YouTube of him doing damage cap with every single attack on every character for like 20 seconds to Bahamut, and it doesn't die because it has no HP. You can't kill it from attacks.
Yeah. Alright, next up we have some summon strats, which is very conveniently and well placed after the fight with a summon. That's very clever of you guys, well done. Let's go, let's see it. Let's see it.
And then my segues from you, Flicky. So, something that a lot of people don't use casually is summons. And obviously we've shown a couple of fights where they're helpful.
Yeah.
But especially Vanilla Summon, Hackathon Share, is incredibly good. So, Hackathon's finisher move, called Guy and Salvo, does
I laugh every time I see it. Every time I see it.
So good.
It's
So,
not not how good it
attacks-
is, it's what the animation and the sounds are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on, are there sounds on this video? I'm gonna play it.
Every attack is capped. Damage cap in this game is 5 nines normally, but the extended damage cap is 6 nines. And Eidolon finishes are one of the attacks that can easily go over the damage cap, and you'll see that this attack does 165,000 damage, which is almost double the normal damage cap you can do on an attack. And it just obliterates everything. Basically what we do is we use it a lot here in Tasion's Tower, where we can preemptive an enemy, and then we will go into summon, we will stagger the main target that we actually want to kill, that's the more annoying one, in this case Gambling Bellows. Do a bit of chaining, and then do some Force Blasters, which increase chain gauge by quite a lot and do a nice amount of damage, and then use the finisher, and it does insane damage and just completely wipes the enemies, and it trivializes the fights basically.
I have sound, by the way, so everyone can see what I mean. Yeah, just to reiterate, as someone who played casually, the summons I thought were complete crap, and I never used them. But I was totally wrong, apparently.
Yeah, and we actually use, what, 5 out of the 6 summons in a run? Either forced to or by choice.
You do not use hopes, is it?
Yeah, we don't use Alexander.
Everything
else gets used. They actually get used in pretty cool ways, which we'll actually get onto.
Oh, can we do
the
that?
next fight.
Yeah, hang on. We're there already.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go.
Nice.
The next fight. So this is the hardest fight in the run. That isn't execution.
Oh god, I'm playing the song. Oh, the song's on.
We love
So
this
this is the second fight with Los Angeles in Urba. And at the start of the fight we're just doing kind of basic raising chain, doing debuffs, just trying not to die. And basically we just want to stagger him with deprotect, imperil, and slow. Slow for the obvious reason that he stops firing at lasers in our face constantly. Imperil and deprotect. I'm not sure why we use imperil actually, but deprotect just because deprotect is good.
So Imperil in this case doubles the chaining from Saz and Vanille. Because there's a subtle point of chaining that like the Ravager's elemental abilities are affected by the enemy resistance on different levels. And the difference between an enemy being normal to an element and an enemy being halved to an element to a Ravager is that the Ravager's chaining is halved if the target resistance is halved versus normal. Imperil for Bart brings his elemental resistance from halved to normal, so it doubles the chaining.
Yeah. Okay, so once we get the head split, we've basically done half his health in the first stagger, and then we summon. And then he's going to use a move called Apoptosis, which dispels all of his buffs and gets rid of all of his debuffs and gets rid of all your buffs. But by using the Eidolon finisher at the right moment, the attack misses, because they can't attack you when you're in Gaston mode. And so that attack doesn't happen, and we get to keep all our shroud buffs that we used before the fight all the way through the fight, which make it so much easier. And this was something I actually stole casually as well, because I wanted to know how to get rid of that attack.
It's great.
But it's really nice to be able to use. But yeah, this fight just does horrible things to you. He can cast Daze, Pain, and Fog, which are debilitation abilities. He can aggro one character horribly. This is like the sketchiest fight, and this fight kills so many runs.
There have been many a time that I'm sitting at close to full health, and then I get about 17 lasers to the leader, which kills you.
Yeah. It's not fun.
It's also, if you follow any Final Fantasy XIII runner, I paused it again, didn't I? God damn it. If you follow any Final Fantasy XIII runner on Twitter, you'll see Bart 2, Bart 3, Bart 4, Orphan or something, usually like in complaint tweets. Like, it's usually a Bart something.
And actually right there's a really cool thing, is we use the elixir just as Fantasy and Laughter hits, so that it negates the first bit of damage dealt, and also heals you while the rest of the damage is coming down, so you don't die from it. And like, tanking attacks with healing is something we do a couple of times in the run, it's really helpful.
I think that, like, Thanatos Laughter does about 100 less damage than Saz's max HP, so you need to do some healing during the attack. But before
and while
you
Saz has the least HP there, we also need to keep all the other people alive, because if you die, you lose your buffs. And that's the biggest thing.
Alright, we're on the Proud Clad now. Subtle
Okay,
reference.
this is the hardest execution fight, but it's not a art. Like, there's no kind of reactionary stuff really. It's like you follow the pattern and you can do it. But when getting the timing down is really hard. So here we actually used Saz's full ATB skill, Cold Blood, which lets us chain pretty ridiculous amounts. And basically the idea here is we keep Proudclad juggled. This is a really bad example of a Proudclad fight, by the way. This is an example of how to kind of not do it, but it still works. So basically we just keep him juggled. There's lots of cycling between paradigms to let Fang and Vanille do damage while Saz can keep doing Cold Blood.
This is Fang gets a skill called Launch, right? That does this?
Yeah, Launch is a skill that most commandos can get. Only Vanille can't get it, right?
And Saz.
Okay, Vanille and
Hope. Yeah,
okay, never mind.
Lightning, Fang, and
I thought it was just Lightning and Fang could get it, in my experience, but...
No, Snow can get it.
Never use Snow.
Yeah, Snow gets it late. But then basically, this guy has a move called Link to deactivate, which fully heals himself, gives himself bravery, haste, and vigilance, but also gives him deprotection D-shell. So it makes him much stronger, but much easier to kill. The issue is we can't kill him in one stagger, we have to use the second stagger, so we have to deal with Limbs deactivated. So we have to be able to launch him twice and, you know, deal with damage. And this is kind of where things started going wrong. But basically, the idea here is, by keeping him constantly launched, he can't do anything while he's launched, he just sits there and he can't attack you. And that's really good because he has one really strong attack called an MLSTRM, and other attacks like Your Blaster, which do a lot of damage and are very not nice to just sit through. But the main problem is that he has two phases, a ground phase and an aerial phase. And after the first stagger, he'll pretty much always go into the aerial phase if you leave it long enough. Which is fine, he doesn't do much, he's not too bad in the aerial phase, but then when he comes back to ground phase, he uses a move called Retaliatory Strike, which is stupid strong.
he uses Retaliatory Strike when you stagger aerial phase and get out of stagger. It's his counter to stagger.
Okay, that. But
the older strategies against Proudclad we used to wait until aerial phase for the second stagger because he was weaker and we didn't have to worry about timing. But if you failed the second stagger, you died to Retaliatory Strike, which was bad. 5 hours into a run. So, like, this is a really nice, like, improvement because now this is a strat that's more... It's faster, but also safer, which is nice to have.
Yeah. And actually, never mind, that was actually a decent fight. It's not the video I thought it was. It's fine. Okay, so, yeah, this fight now is, Sid. So, Sid is... Oh, God, where to start with Sid? Sid is the reason why bonus shrouds can make or break a run. So So the Sid fight is kind of pretty simple. We just do some buffs at the start and then chain Sid for a while until he staggers. So the main gimmick with Sid is that he has paradigms like you do, and he always starts an offensive shift and then he either goes into defensive or recovery shift and then repeats the pattern. So you'll always do a second offensive shift. But if you do the fight normally, he can go into a second phase where he can either do recovery shift or defensive. If he does recovery, it's fine. If he does defensive, you can't do damage to him because you can't do enough damage to kill him at this stagger point. You have to chain him up a lot higher and hope that he doesn't use guard twice, because if he does, he will guard for the entirety of stagger and you're dead. And there's nothing you can do about it. But if you have an Aegisol and you use the bonus Aegisol in this fight, you always stagger him before the paradigm shift would be a problem, and so it's never an issue. And it's just entirely RNG,
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do about it, which is the worst thing.
I mean, I haven't seen it often that he does the double guard, but if he
It's
does
happened enough
defensive
times
shift
to be over it.
and he does, oh, interesting. It's a PC difference. Yeah.
Yes, sure.
Normally he'll do one guard, which lasts, I think, like 25 seconds, and then he'll shift back to offensive stance. You take that opportunity to deal damage to him, and by having sat in Tridentested for so long, you chain him high enough that you can actually kill in the limited time of stagger that's left.
Yeah. And 25 seconds is fine because we use a Quake at the start of the fight, so the stagger duration gets maxed out, which is a really nice use of Quake.
Yeah, so
It
is
means
that what
stagger will
Quake
last for 45
does?
seconds.
I've always wondered what Quake does.
It maxes chain duration and does give base damage.
I would just.
It effectively maxes chain duration. I mean, technicalities. But,
It's good enough.
yeah. It's great if you preempt an enemy, because they start with only 10 seconds of chain gauge, but if you use Quake, that goes up to 30 seconds, and then when you stagger them, they have the max 45 seconds of stagger.
Yeah, like the duration of a stagger is affected by the abilities you use. So although Ravager abilities build up the chain faster, they also don't add much duration, so it'll run down a lot quicker. And Commando and Saboteur are the best ways to really make the chain kind of stable and keep it at high numbers for a long time. Saboteur more so than Commando, but either one works.
Right, we can move on to the next video. I'm just looking through the soundtrack for the word Chocobo and I can't find it.
Pulse the Chocobo.
How can you not find Chocobo in a Final Fantasy game? Come now.
Dude, I found...
The track's called Pulse the Chocobo.
I've got Chocobos of Pulse.
That's that one.
That'll do.
That's a good one.
There you go, that's plain. Alright, now let's move into Sub 3 Bartandalus, because I don't want to listen to the Bartandalus song again. We've heard it once, that's enough.
Oh, now I see why I wanted this song.
Alright.
So yeah, so this is a really fun fight to do, and a really interesting fight as well to optimize. I guess you want to explain this because you're vid, and it's, you know, you're Sub 3.
So the first Bartandalus fight is fun because there are 4 side heads that you have to kill in order to get to the main boss. Or, I mean, you could attack the main boss, but he's really resistant until his side heads are gone. And each of the side heads is weak to one element, absorbs one element, and halves the other 2, and spams spells of their corresponding element. And this is where Saz really shines because he casts the appropriate end spell for 3 of the 4 heads, because we don't have the 4th spell for this fight. But basically, like, what happens is that each head starts out casting the first tier of each spell, so it's kind of tame to start with, and then after you kill 2 heads, they upgrade to tier 2, which is, okay, this is a bit stronger, and then when you get to the 4th head, they're casting tier 3, and it sucks ass. But we, like, my strat effectively, like, kills the last 2 heads really quickly, like, near simultaneously, so we don't have to deal with the last tier 3 spellage. So yeah, like, effectively, like, I'm doing one of 2 things I'm waiting for one of 2 things to happen. The first 2 heads, I'm waiting for either Vanille to inflict Deep Protect or for the head to get staggered, because they both effectively do the same thing. And then I shift to Commando Synergist Medic for Saz to buff Lightning with the appropriate element enhancement. and for Vanille to provide some healing while I kill that head. And then for the last 2 heads, I use Quake, which we just talked about, to extend chain duration so I can multitask and chain both heads at the same time. And one of the heads we take out first with the appropriate spell, and the 4th head we use Ravagers because we don't have the enhanced spell that we just mentioned. And once we take out the heads, we're finally on to the main part of the fight against Bartandalus proper. It's at this point that the haste from Saz starts wearing out, so we briefly shift to a synergist roll to get it back. Meanwhile, we're trying to chain Bartandalus to stagger. And since I have no medic in any, well, I guess I have it in the 3rd paradigm slot, but it's most of your healing is coming from potions, so I'm throwing potions like every other round because our HP is lower than sort of expected through a casual playthrough, and so like each attack is basically cutting out a
nice
third
timing
of
on
your
that
HP.
kill there, like just as the laugh comes out.
It looks scary, but
Yeah, I just like it the way it fades out and she's
you can get some great like animations when enemies die doing cool attacks.
You can see how, like, for those
Yeah.
watching, the nearly all the damage to this boss is done in the last like 20 seconds of the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, like the hardcore that we showed earlier, there's a lot of fights where we set them up well, so we can just like go through and just destroy everything right at the end.
All right, and then finally, oh wait, was there more?
I was just gonna say that like the reason that we have to do all of our damage like really quickly and very fast is because once he drops below an HP threshold, he starts using an ability called Destrudo, which resets his chain to 100%.
Oh.
And many casual people remember that move as the thing that kills you no matter what, but
it's actually fairly easy to dodge if you time it right as well.
And the best thing to deal with it is to deal damage to him to weaken Destrudo. But anyway.
Yeah. So yeah, Orphan 1.
Yeah.
This is the penultimate fight. It's like what, the longest fight in the run, really.
Yeah.
But and I guess just for perspective, this is the longest fight in the run, and it's less than 4 minutes. So, you know.
The game is generally
feel really bad about playing casually.
The game is generally built around bursts like this, but the speedrun just makes use of them really well. So.
Yeah. But basically, at the start of the fight, we throw a Libra scope to get the information and shift to defensive so that he can't kill us. Merciless Judgment is this attack that deals a lot of damage, but it's percentage based, so it can't kill you outright, which is very convenient. But then basically what we do is kind of buff people, try not to die by healing, and then also chain. And basically we're waiting for debuffs, specifically Slow Curse, Deprotect, Imperil, and more importantly, Poison.
The best.
So this fight...
Poison is how you win this fight. I refuse to believe anyone has done this fight without poison.
Yeah. Pay attention to the HP bar. It's the green bar above the line of debuffs. So we're like not doing much damage, and it's just going down on its own. Poison will kill an enemy in 5 minutes after it's like 5 minutes. Basically, it kills an enemy. It does HP max divided by 5 minutes in terms of time. And Poison is doing most of the damage in this fight. I mean, here we're doing a lot of damage. This is... What happened here? Okay. Nice. Progenitorial Wrath. Yeah, so he can do lots of attacks that are really annoying. Progenitorial Wrath is... Well, his first cast will affect your medic if you have one, but it's a chance of instant death, so if Vanille died. Don't need it that much, it's fine. And when he gets to 40% HP, he will always do Merciless Judgment, and then afterwards he'll always have like Consummate Light and Darkness, which is like the two little orbs. He'll have both of them up at the same time. And that's a HP barrier thing, you can't skip that. But basically, at the second part of the fight, once we've done a lot of damage, we pretty much chain him up again, and then just wait for Poison to kill.
It's so good.
Don't really do much in this fight.
Poison's doing a lot. We're helping it with...
you did some solid damage in the stagger.
Saz.
Yeah. You would have capped at 99999 for a lot of those shots. But it's just poison on
and then
this.
basically...
Oh, is this you...
When we get to low HP...
You cheese out the timer.
When we get to either Yeah, either you get to low HP or he does an attack that is going to kill you, you summon, and then again, if either your summon's about to run out or he does an attack that's going to kill you, you then go into Gestalt, and you sit in Gestalt until poison kills, or you have to use the finisher.
Gestalt stall is the best thing. Like,
Best.
Dude, call it what it is.
So good.
Either call it Gestalt, because now you know how to
Gestalt.
say Gestalt, but like combine the words Gestalt and stall, or just call it what it is, which is cheesing. You're cheesing out the boss with Gestalt.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay, we'll go with that.
it's only in emergency, which
You'll actually
hasn't,
notice here is that we didn't,
happened.
he didn't need to Gestalt stall in this example
Yeah.
because he was doing enough damage with Blast and he didn't do any annoying attacks, so we could actually kill before the summon ran out.
yeah, the viewers didn't get to see it, but for what Gestalt cheesing generally looks like is Saz sitting on his motorbike thing and spinning around in circles after a break.
For
There'll be a gap,
about a minute
and then
and a
he'll
half
spin
until all
around,
dies.
and then there'll be a gap, and then he'll spin around. It's amazing.
It's pretty accurate.
So I want to point out, like, I talked about how the chain gauge affects debuff duration, and it's very important in this fight that
Yes,
poison
it
is not
is.
inflicted really early. So you do not want to start using saboteurs until your chain is at about 200-250%.
Yeah, that gives you
And-
at least 2.5 minutes of poison duration.
Yeah. And like I've seen like Maelstrom ones get poisoned at 280% duration,
Wasn't enough.
and I had it once at 270% duration, and it ran out at the end of a Gestalt stall for me, and for him it ran out during the finisher animation he used.
Yeah, because like we were well, it was basically I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know that the poison counter kept going during the animation for the finisher, so it ran out during the finisher. And then Lewd, as an example, was like, "Here we have poison, so we're not going to use the finisher." And then it ran out just before he had to use the finisher anyway. So he's just like, "Well, okay." That was a great video. What did you do, Flicky?
I'm trying to prove a point how far into the fight we are. See?
Okay,
Before
yeah.
poison goes up. That was the goal there. I sort of achieved it. There you go, you're gonna have to make do with that.
Sort of.
Hey, I had to turn the mouse thing on, you know. I went back in the video and I was like, that's a good point. That'll show them how they've waited to use it. And then I realized there's no, like, reference for how far back in the fight we are. So
Yeah.
I realized I needed to, like, try and wedge the timer in there. Alright. Hey. That's
So yeah, that's all the kind of
That's
interesting fights. and
all
stuff, yeah,
interesting
sure.
fights. Like, a lot of this is combat, running around. You can skip every cutscene completely, so there's no
Yeah.
real any of that rubbish to deal with.
And again, for reference, it's about 7 hours of cutscenes in this game, so
7.
Yeah.
It's actually a lot more if you look really at it. It's obscene.
Well,
No, it's-
I've done a
Isn't
no
it?
cutscene skip run that
Oh,
was
really?
12 hours 40 minutes.
yeah.
If you look
We
at
have
the,
references.
I'm sorry, I was just going by the those videos where you see
Yeah.
like Final Fantasy XIII the movie, and it's all of those
like
sorts of
optional
cutscenes,
stuff.
and that was like 12.5 hours long on that video. So maybe it's just your no
Probably
cutscene skips
side
run.
content.
Maybe they just muted you in your no cutscene skips run, and then just put that on YouTube.
Yeah, like there's quite a lot of optional video like cutscenes that we don't see because
Yeah.
it's either
Yeah.
post game stuff or like
Yeah.
mission based and stuff that we don't do in a run.
Yeah. All right. So now I'm sure a lot of people are interested in this, like probably the idea of a really interesting and hands-on combat system that requires a lot of thinking about and actual
Yep.
involvement, as well as being able to skip cutscenes, is probably making a few JRPG fans
Yeah.
think, man,
Well, I mean,
that sounds like fun.
yeah.
I want to do that.
This is probably the one Final Fantasy game that has no solid place where you can take a bathroom break, except maybe 12, because 12 also has cutscene skips.
I'm trying to think about, I guess 13 and Lightning Returns you technically probably could while you're sitting on the tower near the start of the game doing nothing. So that's possible. Uh-oh, that's not Final Fantasy anymore.
Uh-oh.
Alright, that's fine. So yeah, I want you to give them some notes. We have 3 easy steps of how you'd like to learn Final Fantasy XIII. So let's dish these out. Lewd, would you like to do one, and then Maelstrom can do 2, and then Lewd, you can do 3.
Sure.
Yes.
So number 1 is to read the notes. Easy. Done. No. I mean, so I have notes on my info page on Twitch that I
And
also
links
like.
on
You know,
the
people ask
Final
about it.
Fantasy Speedrun wiki as well.
Ah, yes. That's also a good place to go to. And at least 3 people have learned the route off of my notes, and they all say that they're pretty well written. And they describe like the strategy for the fights pretty well. They don't really describe where to run, because I just usually just say dodge 3 enemies, sometimes
Yeah.
with descriptions on how to dodge.
After a couple of times going through, it's fairly obvious, but that's the only real thing it's missing.
But it goes like, it describes like all the menuing that gets done in good enough detail, and it describes the fights sort of in a way that hopefully you can understand. So yeah.
Yeah, nice. Maelstrom.
Yeah, so number 2 is like watch runs and ask questions. So like, you know, come in, watch people doing attempts, see kind of how fights are meant to be done, because although you can have the notes, you don't necessarily have an idea on like the pacing of how to do certain things. You can also just pick up like little things from watching people, and also, you know, we're all happy to answer questions if you come into our chat and ask like, why are we doing this, or can you help us with this fight, like what am I doing wrong? We're all pretty nice people, we like to think.
Just think you should throw the notes in chat. Actually, you won't get banned for it.
Oh,
That's probably a good idea. One word of warning, if you're planning to watch runs, is it can be very easy to watch the whole thing. And then, like, those 5 hours watching a run have been slightly helpful, but you probably should have spent it practicing. Which leads us in, very nicely, to point 3. Lewd.
Practice.
By
And when you
PS,
think you're done, practice.
by the PC version.
That was like 6 points, sir.
yeah, point 4 is by a PC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like,
Wow.
I've died
That's a
to
hell of a
every
point.
fight. I
Spent
mean,
a lot of money. Go.
as of today, I've died to every fight.
Nice.
Wait, what?
Oh, Garuda, right?
I died to Garuda for the first time ever today. I didn't realize that was a fight that was actually dieable in a speedrun.
Nice.
I think I'm almost at that point, but not everything has claimed me yet.
Okie doke. And
But
we've got our last little miscellaneous points. Any shout outs or other things you'd like to mention, bring up, advertise, and so on?
Yeah.
And then we got records
Yeah.
time.
So, I guess in terms of events, we mentioned it earlier, but we have a Final Fantasy XIII trilogy relay race coming up at some point soon. It's going to be like April, May time we're looking at. We're just kind of sorting out dates for the last couple of people now. But that's going to be back-to-back any % runs of 13, 13-2 and Lightning Returns. We're going to have hopefully up to 3 teams if everyone can make it, but we're seeing how that goes. Also, shout-outs to the wider Final Fantasy XIII community. You guys are all great. Yeah.
There you go.
I guess in terms of in-jokes,
I've had Vanilla
I
and
feel like we
Peril
should bring
at
this
the
up,
top
but I
of the
don't
screen.
bring this up. I don't want to bring this up, but I feel like we should. So, this became probably the biggest in-joke at the moment is Vanilla and Peril, which started like a month ago now, probably. Where I was on a run at part 2, and I was waiting for Vanille to cast Imperil, and I was shouting at my screen, Vanille, Imperil, while not noticing that she had actually cast Imperil and stopped casting completely and was waiting for me to do stuff. And that went on for about 20 seconds before I realized.
This so-called glorious
So that's
video.
Every time Vanille fails to cast Imperil,
Yeah.
people start shouting that. It's pretty special.
Lovely. All right.
It all
So
came from
yeah, keep us posted on that relay. There's a chance I'll be in it to do Lightning Returns.
Yeah.
So
You will be in it if we're doing.
yeah. So I'm going to be, I guess, practicing that. I suppose. I said I'd never do one again, but you know, out of retirement. And yeah.
Speedrun's never been
No.
What are you on about?
Yeah. And yeah, thanks for joining us for that one. Are there any people you'd like to say hi to or anything particular? And are you sticking around for records? Because you are welcome to.
I'll stick around, but
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else I want to say.
Nice. Lewd?
Same.
Nice. Brilliant. Okay, so we're gonna head. Uh-oh, I'm gonna figure out which window. There we go. Lovely. Hit that split. Into records, very simple. You guys got the docs linked, right? If not,
Nope.
they'll be linked right now, won't they?
What?
Not me. And it's world records as usual. These are what you guys submit to us.
No.
Head to tssbreak.com and go to the submit a run, or I think it's called submit a run, and you can send these in to us. We get these from you, so if you don't send them to us, we don't see them generally. So please do that. We'll look through them, throw them up. We get some highlight videos courtesy of you, or you give us timestamps and we make them, and this is what this is. If you guys know about a game, MLSTRM or Lewd, if you know about one, just shout. If not, you'll be assigned them at random. So just accept that, because that's how it's going to be.
Ooh.
Starting off,
Okay, there's a
It's
couple
not
on here I will definitely say things for.
we'll give this one to Feasel, because not only has he been a bit quiet, but this is American
Fuck yeah.
McGee,
America.
and you're a
Starts with an
veritable American McGee, aren't you? That's a phrase, isn't it? An American
American
McGee.
McGee?
He's an American McGee.
No.
You guys, we say that all the
Sure.
time.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
people do say that all the
Yeah.
time. I hear that all the time.
Yeah, I
Sure.
bet you do.
that
Yeah.
was Jack.
So this is American McGee's Alice for the PC. This is an any percent run on easy mode in 103.17 by Miko. Says, I couldn't find any RTA runs of this game, so I decided to give it a go. Horrible run with plenty of time still to save. I escaped the RNG stacked beginning only to lose all my save time in the middle of the run. Only managed to get ahead thanks to a few more aggressive strats and a quick final boss kill. Expect this run to be obsolete within a week.
Ooh.
So there's the expiration date on American McGee's Alice. Within a week, it'll be obsoleted. So watch it while you can.
So, Gildersneeze, I got a question for you.
Right.
I have an answer for you, hopefully.
When you're driving in the countryside, what do you have to be worried about?
What do I have to be worried about? Nothing. I'm an excellent driver.
Animal
I'm not playing into your segue.
Crossing.
I knew where that was going the minute you started talking.
I think we all did, don't worry.
But it is Animal Crossing on the GameCube. The goal is Golden Net at a time of 58:55 by Forstrad. He says, I'm surprised I actually got sub 1 hour with this run, let alone PB'd at all. The beginning of the run was good up until July, where I had bad RNG with a few bugs, and then winter was a disaster. Oh, it was the worst winter ever. Dear
Sounds
God,
like the
I made
last
it.
one. Yeah.
I tried resetting to get a B that I missed and ended up missing it when I tried again. However, I somehow managed to find a B a few minutes later and caught it in the worst acre possible. And that's the end of the notes. I don't know if there's
Yeah.
anything else he has to say about the run.
No, that's. I mean, it's Animal
I do
Crossing.
like that his note on highlights contain profanity.
Don't worry, I just realised that there's music. I can unmute again now. Not that there's.
Yeah.
Oh,
There should be audio for most of these.
yeah, there's still
Maybe
Final
not this one,
Fantasy
though.
audio going. That's my problem. Get rid of that. Get out of here, Final Fantasy 13. There you go. Not for this one, but there will be for later
Not
ones.
for this one, because of the profanity and all.
The profanity. Animal Crossing is a vicious game in terms of
Right.
audio.
Explicit content.
Alright, we have Dragon Quest 8 on PS2. This is any percent, I guess, NA? Is that North America, or
This
is
is
it
America.
not applicable, or...
Not applicable.
Yeah. But this is 12,
I think it
15... I think it's America. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably
Yeah,
North
Yeah.
I
America.
think it's US version.
Yeah. So, yeah, 12 hours, 15 minutes, and 6 seconds by High Spirits, and very, very consistently streaming this every time I'm go to Speedruns Live. He's been putting time into
Yeah.
this game, so nothing that says fun like playing a game that involves metal slime grinding for 3.5 hours. Jesus. And having your entire run based around that luck. This game is fun. After 2 weeks of grinding pretty hard, I got this time, which is still far from perfect. Lost 15 minutes to one of those metal grinds. There's a 5-minute improvement over the last world record. Alternate route being worked on to get below 12 hours. I really hope that that isn't all at once, that grinding.
I think it is.
Oh my god.
From the splits I've seen, I think it's all in like one chunk.
Damn, that sounds awful. Huh?
What? Something.
Oh, did you
Saw the
whisper?
video up.
Not anymore, I don't.
Yeah, I was saying.
Mr. Delayed stream. If someone was on an
Whatever.
RTMP server, they would have seen more.
If the RTMP server would broadcast to me and not choke every second,
All right. Speaking of
I
choking,
would be.
speaking of choking,
Pretty accurate.
this is Maelstrom's run, but he didn't type in his whole
Yeah.
name. He just wrote M and
Yeah.
stopped. So I feel
My
like
tab complete.
Everyone
I
knows
checked
why.
this before the show. My tab complete has M and Maelstrom for some reason.
yeah,
So a tab
It all
complete is
happened
M to
in high
M.
school.
I figured you
Yeah.
thought it would autocorrect and it didn't. So
Yeah.
go for it.
That happened. Yeah, this run. So, like I said at the start of the show, I've been grinding attempts for a week. This happened on Monday, and this run is so bad. It's so disgustingly bad. But for the game just hates us at this point. Like, it's impossible to improve because I had a run yesterday that was 4 minutes ahead going into the final chapter, so 20 minutes from the end of the game, and lost it all just entirely within 2 fights. It's just destroying me right now. So this is what we have at the moment. 5:21:19.
I
Yeah.
like the joke in chat. If we're accurate to the choke in the run, it should be Maelstrom.
Yeah. That's cold, to be honest.
All right. Okay. Next up, I'm gonna give this one to Feasel because I'm not sure if he's played this, but it feels like it's 9/10 of a game he's run. So
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, I have played this. I have not run this game. I think this game's been on SGL. This is Kickmaster for the NES. The time is 12:02 for any percent by Frankie Snow, who says, about the game, I have to say that getting the experience is not luck-based. I remember being told once that there's a global timer. Not that I know about. Not that I know about that. What I do is get enemies on Sector 1 and 2 the same way and pace every 2 or 3. Get good drops. I've got 2k experience after the first set of enemies. Basically, he's talking about the grinding. He kills a lot of stuff in the first few levels, and the drops are not... are maybe random, maybe not random, but he needs to level up his dude, and so a lot of the early levels you'll see him killing lots of enemies and trying to collect the stuff they drop. Let's see, he says the execution was alright. I got almost all the mini bosses and the boss's first cycle, as well as green bugs. Lost some time on the spider and the centaur that cost me the sub 12. I don't know if I'm going to go for it or never play the game again. Well, there's no rush. Now, the reason I submit this run is to give a shout out to my wife and possibly get a Craigasm on chat. There you go. You can Craigasm in chat for you.
Yeah.
If y'all don't want to spam, that's fine as well.
no, chat love to spam,
No, he gives you the option of not spamming if you don't want to do that.
but you gotta spam because you guys
Right.
wanna. You know you do. Dude, this guy is kicking a lot. I feel like that's not necessary to say, but he really
Well,
is.
yes. He's practiced kicking so much that he's a master of kicking.
This is pretty OP kicking.
He is kicking hard.
That dive kick strat. Stomp, 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 stomp.
All right, we got a few here.
Boss.
Oh,
Ow,
look at
ow,
this.
Ow, 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 ow.
Yeah, he destroys this final boss. This last boss rush is really good.
Some serious kicking. All right, we got some runs here. Let's do right. There's 4 of these, and there's 5 of
I'll
us.
take the second one.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll take Mega Man X7. So PC, any percent new game plus, and 59.28 by Peter Afro. It's finally sub 1 hour. Could have had sub 59 if I did not screw up the first Tunyon fight, and got a good good Warfly reflight fight. Letters RNG.
Yes.
But I'm done unless this gets into SGDQ. I did it. All right, Maelstrom.
Okay, yeah, so Metroid Prime, any percent GameCube American version, 54 in-game time minutes by T3. This is a really insane run. So the old record was 55 by T3, and he got that back in July, and he's been still going at the game since, and only just now got the 54. It's a really, really solid run. It's about 44-ish in-game time, so he's still quite a ways off from a 53, but if you're a fan of Metroid games or Metroid Prime or just really amazingly executed speedruns, you should definitely go check this run out. It's ridiculous.
Nice. As it should
It's
be.
really-
Metroid Prime is one of those high standards games. It's usually not got a whole lot of like competition at the same time, but the people who work at it really work at it. So check it out.
Yeah.
It's sort of, I would say it's not been in the limelight so much recently, but there's still really good runs out there, and it gets viewers. So check it out if you've never done it. Seen it, sorry. Lude, you can have this one for no particular reason.
Lude.
Okay.
There are dolphins in this
So-
game, I think.
Probably.
Are they lewd? Or can we make
You
them?
don't want to know.
I'm sure at least one of them is. Like,
Well,
one in
I'm done.
1 in 10
They are quite-
dolphins are lewd.
So this is New Super Mario Bros. 2 on the 3DS. Goal is warps, done in 2639 by Greenalink. It is 21 seconds faster than the current SDA run, all thanks to newer, faster strats, a different power-up route, maximizing the coin counter to 10 million steps, tally updates after completing certain stages, and he is going to focus on warpless for now.
Yeah, so he gets 10 million coins and then does it so that it, like, he has it on a save file so that it never needs to tally up coins.
Ah.
Okay, I misread
No.
what that. Yeah.
Yeah, you probably had no idea what it meant because it doesn't make any sense if you just read the sentence without knowing what it means.
10 million skips was what I thought it was. But
yeah.
his coin counter is to 10 million, and that
Yeah,
skips.
and that skips having to
Yeah.
count up. So it
English
saves
sucks.
time.
How do you
Yeah.
get 10 million coins?
Way too many attempts.
I don't know how,
Holy
but he
shit.
had 10 million coins. You can watch him play.
No, seriously.
He has
I know,
9
it's a Mario
million.
game as well.
9 million
You literally could not humanly
999,000.
count to a million in a year.
Well, there's obviously some way of getting a load of coins, obviously. Don't ask him. I'm sure the key part
God.
Guild needs is the sick run, not the number of coins.
Just blows my fucking mind. Sorry. 10 million.
Yeah, 10 million coins.
Oh, okay. Apparently it throws thousands of coin per level.
Okay, there you go.
10 million
Makes a
coins
lot
left
more
to
sense.
pick up. 10 million coins left to pick up. You pick one up. Put it in your bank.
Super Mario Brothers game where you get like
I can just
less
imagine
than
him
100 per stage.
jumping in a box 10 million times to get the coin.
Speedrun took 26 minutes to set up to 26 days.
Wow,
26 years.
Oh my god.
Alright, okay.
I've been training for this all my life.
Just hands off the DS to like his younger brother or sister or something. So just keep pressing A.
Get to work.
Continue my legacy.
Continue my legacy. Son, I've grinded 26 years to get enough coins for you to break the world record in New Super Mario
get
Brothers
to
2. This is your legacy.
Dad, I don't want to play New Super Mario Brothers 2.
You were born into
Oh,
it.
Stupid.
Alright, okay. Ninja Gaiden, really good. Give this to Gilda, because good and Gilda begin with G.
And Gaiden.
And Gaiden, too, see?
All right. Well, this is not your standard Ninja Gaiden record. This is the Sega Master System version, any percent in 1619 by Crazy Rasmus. And he says, I've been adding more and more tiny improvements here and there, so sub 16 is starting to look plausible.
And again, just your
And yes,
weekly
it has.
reminder that this is a really fun game and you should play it.
Yes.
Next up,
It is actually really good.
prepare your ear holes for the dulcet tones of the Overboard soundtrack. If it gets played. There we go. This game,
prepped.
you should all look at this and be like, oh my god, it's this game! Because this was on a demo disc of PS1, and it's absolutely cracking game, it's fantabulous, and Arius, my bad, has done us the duty of doing a speedrun of this in 59:57 on medium difficulty. And Arius says, finally sub 1, died twice, summer best 58:36, so I might go for the sub 59. This game is really good. It's still aged really well. It might not look fantastic, but it's still really fun. And you guys, yeah, everyone should be like getting major nostalgia if you had a PS1 looking at this, because it was on the demo disc. It's really cool.
Never heard of it.
You've really never
I
had it?
never
Yeah.
played.
Never played it?
Never
Never
seen it.
Never
This
seen
is
it?
like literally
I
the first time I've ever
Do
seen
you
this
have a
game.
PS1?
I had a PS1.
Oh my god, did you not get it in America? Did you not get it on the
I don't
demo
know.
disc in America?
I
You
had PS1
guys.
demo disc. I don't know.
I remember the demo.
I seriously have never seen this game before.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it looks kind of fun.
goodness,
I
it's
kind of want to play it.
It's really good. It's really good. It's made by Psygnosis, who hopefully
Psygnosis makes good games.
yes they did. Don't
Made
anymore.
Demolition Derby.
Unfortunately. Yeah, exactly.
Your car is about had it. Take it easy.
But yeah, this was a fun factor for you. Gonna be the Team Speedrun competition game for AGDQ 2013 that I organised, but I couldn't find any copies that were cheap enough. So yeah, it's really great, and I'm really glad someone's running it. And I made the highlight extra long so you could hear more of the song, which plays a lot during one of the levels. But it does have a really good soundtrack otherwise. I'm not just gonna sit there. I'm gonna sit here and listen to it. I don't care. You guys are missing out. It's an old like sailing ditty. They call them sea shanty.
Oh man.
It's
What
sung-
will we do with a drunken
yeah,
sailor?
it's that. It's literally that. That's the song.
It isn't really drunken sailor.
Yeah, it is.
You gotta be kidding.
No,
Fantastic.
by the Irish Rovers. It's
I'm
part of the
psychic. I can't hear it
soundtrack.
obviously since I'm muted, but
There you go. Fantastic.
chat, what would you do with a drunken sailor?
Stick him in a
Recommend
longboat
spam
with a
immediately.
hose pipe on him or something. I can't remember. Stick him in a bucket.
Throw him in the bed with the captain's daughter. Shave his belly with a rusty razor.
That's another one. You got it.
Here.
I know lots of those.
All right. Okay. Pilot Wings. I'll take this one again. Why not? This is N64 NE% 2453 by Graviton, who says, after several months of IL grinding and tons of new strats that were found, I finally was able to put it all together in the cleanest run I've ever done. There were about 15 seconds of mistakes overall. I'll continue to try and improve for a little while longer, but I would be totally happy if this is the final time I finish with. Yeah, that's nice to be satisfied. I'm gonna flip the page. There we go. Now, Pocky and Rocky Feezy. Feezy,
Yes.
Feezy, Pocky, Rocky.
What about? Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Pocky and Rocky.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, this is for the Super Nintendo. Any percent normal mode, and 2041 by Akisto, who says, I decided to do a D-Rust run. I sucked ass. RNG didn't. Great game with good music. I'm still waiting for people to pick up and start speedrunning this game. That's good. It doesn't matter how good your playing is, as long as you have the RNG on your
yeah.
side.
Oh
That's
yeah,
really what it is.
the RNG is the important part.
This game was this one Mr. K and
They did two, I
TJ
think. I'm pretty
played.
sure they did
Oh,
Pocky and Rocky 2, but it's still basically
Didn't
the
we
same.
talk about this last time Pocky and Rocky was on and
Yes,
something?
and we couldn't
came to the
tell
same
which
conclusion.
one was which.
Aha. Flashback. Anyway, yeah, this is a really fun game.
Yeah.
You're just standing behind the boss and this is that's
Yeah, so he explains this by moving the D-pad, he gets to shoot again. It cancels his shot or something like that. And therefore, you get to keep shooting him, and the boss doesn't do anything and dies. That's explained in the highlight text. But look at this.
You didn't just happen to know that.
I didn't happen to know that. No.
Please tell me the boss he's about to fight is the one I love to see.
It's the final
I like
boss.
that.
No, damn.
It's the final boss.
The final boss. I like Cyclops Rick Ross. He's my favorite boss in this game.
Can confirm though, the music's good. I picked the first song I could find on the OST, and it was great, and put it in the video.
Excellent.
Easy. It's not hard doing this job sometimes. No way. There you go. Pocky and Rocky. Really cool game. Really cool. Okay. Right. Next up is a portal run shoved in here in a little gap. Hang on. Let me fix my stuff I broke. PC out of bounds route this time in 8 minutes 40 seconds 36 hundredths by Juxpar or Yuxpar. No comment or anything, but anytime there's a portal improvement, you should probably go check it out. It's short and very, very sweet.
yeah, out of bounds is especially crazy.
Yeah, out of bounds is just, you can't really follow it. So just sit back and let it happen.
Whenever I watch a portal run, it's like, what the heck?
What just happened? Alright, he's doing... No, where is he? No, I don't know where he is. Yeah, nice. Okay, right. This one scares me a bit. I'm gonna give this one to Lewd. No real reason. I just don't want to have to do it. I'm scared of Zaki Draghi submissions just due to what they have been in the past. So.
What are you talking about? Everyone has been a quality NES game.
Anytime I have to click unmute on a video of one of his games, it just makes me upset. Go for it, dude.
Rambo, NES any percent in 2154 by Zaki the Goat Dragon. He says it was mostly a pretty bad run, but I suppose not bad for a D-Rust. I'm pretty sure the game only takes input every other frame, except during conversations, where holding any direction on the D-pad prevents the game from detecting the A button is being pressed. Aside from the input, Rambo's worst enemies are birds, fish, and bats. Oh look, birds again. Yeah. Although at least the bats are fairly predictable. Rocks and logs seems to be a pretty big threat as well. Anyway, had a few good places in the run, and I managed to get the wall clip at the end very quickly. I'm not sure just how much time can be cut off because of the randomness, but I'd like to aim for sub 520 or 520 is my
feel
head
like
because of 13.
Yeah,
sub 20.
I feel like someone was like, "Hey guys, if you hold left and right on the D-pad, the game breaks in this way." And it's like, "Don't worry, we'll just make it only accept one input at a time." That'll fix the problem. I don't know what this is, and yeah, I don't like the sound either.
Oh, come on.
It's a pretty bad
It's
game.
better than.
If you remember the movie, though.
It's better than whatever the
bad.
other one was. The weird robot future thing. It's better
What the
than
hell is
that.
that?
Low G Man?
No.
Low G Man?
Not Low
Rabbit
G
Man? I'm
Man.
sorry.
Robo something. What was that one called? Robo Demons or something?
I remember what you're talking about now, and now I can't think of the name as
Yeah.
soon as you put me on the spot for it.
Damn it. Damn it. Gilda Sneeze. Alright. Speaking of damning, no, that doesn't sort of work. Gates, dams, hell, I don't know. Shadowgate, NES, glitch percent, 11 minutes 52 by iMoto Games. And he says, I RTA'd using TAS strats. It's always a nice feeling to nail those TAS strats. I like to think a TASer looks at the round and just thinks, shucks. This guy did what I did, but without TAS. Okay, well, never mind. Is this the right order now? Yeah, Shadow Grounds. Maelstrom.
Yeah.
As a person who
sure.
also put PC Pal in their submission info,
Yeah, man.
I feel like you should
PC is my best friend.
you should do this one here.
Not reading chat right now.
Yeah, go for it.
So this is Shadowgrounds PC PAL 80% in 1 hour, 2 minutes and 30 seconds by Onin. And he says Shadowgrounds is a top-down shooter where a random mechanic dude saves the world from an alien invasion. The speedrun involves a few death abuses, some out-of-bounds routes, some skipping non-mandatory objectives, and non-stop rolling all over the place. This is the first run I finished, so it's pretty unoptimized. I'm still looking into some better routes for 1 or 2 levels and looking into the most optimal weapon pickups. I skipped the pistol because it's shit, but doing that makes the game swap me back to the pulse rifle after every cutscene instead of keeping me on the current weapon. Also, in this run, the Alt-5 and the minigun completely malfunctioned, which was cool. It's a pretty difficult game to run because the camera position after every cutscene or transition makes no sense, and there's no easy way to orientate yourself. So I should make wrong turns. So I make wrong turns way more often than I should, and it's pretty easy to bump into corners while rolling. Sub 1 hour should be easy to get.
Nice.
Easy peasy.
That's another short highlight, long comment from Onin. Likes it. He's switching console. Okie dokie. Star Fox, right, sorry. I'm here. Feasel. No, Gilda Sneeze.
What?
Oh,
Dude, Star Fox. Sorry, Feasel.
Dude, yes. It's a Star Fox.
Go
This
play
is
it now.
3,
No,
4,
don't read it. Go play it.
3038. What? Okay, I'll be back. Get 3038 by Skybills. This time was obtained by learning how to fight Asteroid 3's, Fortuna's, and Venom's orbit bosses properly. The 2-cycle Great Commander fight saved 20 seconds alone, but involved an extremely risky strategy of crashing the R-Wing into the ship for the final hit. This run beats my old PB by 28 seconds. Wow. Although I could get close to sub 30, I'm not sure if it's possible yet. I'm happy I can play level 3 this recklessly and still survive. It is so easy to die in most of these stages, even while knowing what I'm doing. I'll probably try to PB in this category one more time, but then it's time for SGDQ submissions. Special thanks to Radioactive Rat and Author Blues for their support. Good job, Sky.
You can keep going, because there's so many free segues up on offer here that you can just take them.
Man,
I'm offering them up.
just take
I want to see which one you want.
from Star Fox to... No, I'm not going to. But I'll take a trek to the next record. Why not?
There you go.
Hey, it's Star Trek 25th anniversary on the NES. Any percent 2311 by Author Blues. Cut more than 10 minutes off my previous run thanks to a skip shown to me by Empty the Void. That's a hell of a save. Oh, Sky Bills, you're slacking. By Empty the Void, where a bit of Starship travel tricks the game into letting you skip the second of 4 missions entirely. Hell yeah. This run was slightly more optimized than the last 2 missions. No kidding. Saved 10 minutes. Might try to improve this a bit more, but the game's pacing is so slow it's hard to get excited about playing. I love you, Author.
A very unexcited world record.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I'm not even sure you could call that a highlight video at this point.
Hey, look.
Video is a stretch. But well done. Anyway. Okie doke. Super Castlevania 4 SNES, ending percent 3206 by Furious Paul. Now, did any of you watch this? Because usually one of you has.
PJ's not here.
PJ's not here.
He's the one who watches everything.
Even you, when you're alone. That's right, you viewer, listening to me now. He watches you too. Yeah.
He's watching me now.
He's watching you sit there with your legs under your chair, and I can't even pretend I know what you're doing. With your water glass. No, I'm out.
We all know what they're doing.
I'm sitting on the toilet with my laptop and a microphone. That's how I do every TSSB
That explains
episode.
that echo. Could you just not do it in a public toilet, Feasel? I can keep hearing people coming in and out.
Hold on a second.
Alright, so anyway, just to get back to the record, 12 seconds faster, this is Furious Paul's comment, 12 seconds faster than my previous PB, 12 whole seconds. I'm almost lost for words with this run, so close to my final goal of sub 32. The run had one Cyclone Chandelier, one cycle. I took CYC and said cycle, oh my god. I think that's Maelstrom's fault. One cycle Chandelier, one cycle Mummy, 7 cycles Slogra, 7 cycle Dracula, only 1 hit away from the 6 cycle, 1 major execution mistake on stage 8 that cost me a few seconds. Wow, that sub 32 grind is next. Yeah, those guys are taking that down bit by bit. Yeah, pretty nice.
You don't say.
Yeah. Hey, also Nero. Guys, did you hear about this record? This was an accidental world record. Did any of you guys hear about that? It was an accident. This is Nero's 142.09 120 star in Super Mario 64. Nero, one of the long-time Japanese speedrunners, was racing, got this record. Kotaku reported it as being an accident. And very worded it as if like he just played it one time and accidentally broke the world record.
Right, he tripped and landed on his controller and just happened to get this run.
Exactly. That's pretty much what it was. He wasn't trying to play the game really well or anything. He was just playing casually and accidentally got the world record. But yeah, of course the mainstream gaming media not quite understanding our incredibly niche and specific hobby where everyone is such sticklers for information. But hey, that's just what we expect from them. Speaking of, no segue, no, never mind. Feasel, you played a Mario game once.
There you go.
I don't see a highlight video for this.
Perfect.
It's probably under Return to Dinosaur Land. Or SMW Return to Dinosaur Land.
I'm gonna go look for it quickly, see if I can get it in time. I don't know where it is.
It is there. It should be.
Okay, you go. I'm gonna see if I can.
Alright, alright, Let's see. So this is Super Mario World Return to Dinosaur Land. This is a ROM hack of SMW. This is a all-exit run, 59 exits, in 121.34 by Akisto. He says, this is a ROM hack developed by RAGB. Not much to say. Abusing the SMW mechanics to the max.
Yeah.
This is a pretty neat ROM hack. There's a bunch of SMW ROM hacks that stand out, and this is one I've seen people play a number of times. It's pretty good.
That's pretty cool.
Most of the time with ROM hacks, they go crazy with difficulty and whatnot.
They don't worry too much about actual level design in quite a few of them, but this one was more about making a fun set of levels rather than making it bastard hard, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then sort of watching it, I did find it wasn't under SMW. I'm just stupid and can't read.
Good work.
Yeah, that's alright.
That's not an important skill.
Yeah, I don't need to read most of the time, except for every minute I'm on the internet.
Yeah, but other than that,
There's video on the internet.
Yeah, but you have to
Read it, just
write
watch
to
the
find the video and read the title of it.
What? I just click things and stuff happens. Suddenly I'm watching speedruns.
Yeah.
Oh, he's able to take... If you're spin jumping, you get a free hit. That's why he didn't get killed by the thwomp
Yeah.
there.
Cool.
I'm just watching.
Fun stuff. Lots of neat mechanics in Super Mario World.
Oh, whoa, that's cool.
Whoa!
I've not seen that
Strats.
before.
Oh, it's like something crawling across the video.
Mhm. Neat stuff.
Nice, nice, nice. Alright.
It's crazy that works.
Yeah. Alright, cool. Right, Elder Scrolls, I don't know, we'll, just, Maelstrom, you can do this one. Why
Yeah,
not?
Sure.
Yeah.
here's a
Yeah, sure.
PC.
So, yeah. So, The Elder Scrolls 4
He has a
Oblivion,
PC.
PC American version,
Ooh.
any percent in 357 without loads by Mattenbro. It says this run was done on the most recent patch, version 1.2.0416, and beats the previous world record of 4 minutes flat without loads set by EVMs. I'm extremely happy with the way this run turned out. This run is very RNG dependent with clips and NPC manipulation. One section relies on hoping that 10 different NPCs in a Bethesda game do everything that you want them to do. I was able to find a new route in this section that made the odds much more favourable and saved about a second. My summer best for this run is now a 3:54, which honestly feels like the fastest possible time achievable. I don't plan on grinding out 1,500 more attempts, so I'm giving it a break for now.
Yeah, I was told to make this highlight video and I dutifully did. I have no idea what's happening. But, he's gonna suddenly be at the end of the game. So just bear with it.
Apparently it's a door that, if it didn't exist, would make the game a lot longer.
Yeah, but he's at the end of the game now.
I guess because you can get through the door somehow and then skip like most of the game.
Yeah, I guess. But I couldn't figure it out, so I just sort of left it. There's a dude fighting a dragon. And I just sort of let that happen for a bit, and then I cut the video.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Things
So
are going down.
he doesn't even need to fight a boss or anything. You just... There you go. There's a dragon. I'm not sure if the guy turns into a dragon or he summons the dragon, but that's Oblivion. That's it. This is what happens at the end.
Summon the dragon.
Yeah, and then they fight for a while, and I thought about putting the whole fight in there, but it goes on for about a minute, so I left it out.
Wow.
Then we have Uninvited NES Beat the Game by 1126 again by Emoto Games, so there you go. Another one, no comments, but I don't know what this game is. Do I actually?
It's another game like Shadowgate. Shadowgate, Deja Vu, and Uninvited were 3 storybook type games, point and click
Yeah, I
type
do
games
know what
for
this
the
is game. I know why,
NES.
because 2 people submitted it for ESA as a race.
Oh,
That's why I know what it was. I knew I had a faint inkling as to what that game was. So there you
I wonder
go.
if we'll see Deja Vu next time. That's the trifecta.
Oh, there you go. Alright, then we have 2 last ones. A very short one. Fast up with ease. Let's give this one to Gilda Sneeze.
What? Okay.
Do you
I
get
see
it?
what happened there.
Yeah, do you hear the
I
rhyme?
do indeed.
There you go.
Is Ease the Vanished Omens on the Sega Master System, any percent? 2286 by John UK 89.
That's seconds and
That says I wasn't even-
seconds and hundredths, sorry.
Oh, that's 20. Oh, wow, that is a decimal and not a colon,
Yeah.
is it? Yeah. Sorry about that. Alright, I wasn't even really going for the record. I'd just come off the back of a disastrous blind race and decided to try a few runs of this to actually beat a game. Instead, I knocked 5 frames off my whole time. GG.
Oh, it's this run.
It's this one. It's the mirrors. Walk to the shop, buy some mirrors.
GG.
Yeah. I'm gonna play it again. Just for you guys. Walk to the shop in a specific way, buy some mirrors, win the game. What's really good about this is that he's in a Skype call with a few other people, and he says to them, I think I just got world record, and no one responds. He just goes on talking about what it is that he was doing already. I think there are 2 other people, and he says, well, I think I just got world record, and the other guy just carries on with whatever he was talking about. No acknowledgement whatsoever.
Casual world record.
Casual. Well, he was excited. The other guys are like, didn't even pay attention. Yeah.
Play cool.
All right, then finally, fittingly, a Z at the end of all this. So let's give this to Lewd. Why not? Just because, etc., etc.
Zoda's Revenge, Star Tropics 2 on the NES, any percent, in 10307 by Zoda Stone. After the second to last dungeon, I was having doubts about this run, but I got incredible RNG during the final boss fight. I'm hoping to go sub 103 soon.
Alright.
Yeah.
I can attest to how incredible RNG during a final boss fight feels.
Yeah.
This is a mere hour into a run, though.
True.
It doesn't matter how long your run is. Last boss RNG is horrible. There you go. I know Star Tropics is popular. I know PJ likes this game. I know particularly because he did an interview with someone for AGDQ, and they said there are any streams you want to promote, and he didn't say TSSB, but he did say some Star Tropics streamers. So he at least likes them more than us. That's the important part. So, alright, yeah, it's Star Tropics.
Me too. Oh.
Too late. You didn't get interviewed. I don't know what much to say, except the music was better than Rambo. So there we go. That's it. That's all the records, guys. We are donezo with records. So look at that. Look at them all.
Recordzo.
There we go. That was loads of them. Really quickly, so you can't see them. Now it's the end split. The split called End, where we end the show. We would like to. We're gonna. What do we got? What do we got to do? Right. There's a few things we need to mention. Mystery Tournament has started. It started yesterday, I believe. So everyone in Mystery Tournament land, good luck with your games and mysteries and so on. I hope you have fun and hope you don't have a load of rubbish games thrown at you or annoying things. But you know, hopefully you have some fun.
Darkwing Duck asked me to mention that there is a scheduled race for the release of the Zelda Randomizer on the 14th. That's March 14th at 1:59 p.m. Eastern.
That's next Saturday.
So it's this coming Sunday.
March 14th?
Or no, it's Saturday. He said Sunday.
14th is a Saturday, yep.
Yeah, he said Sunday in his message to me, so yes, it's correct. That is Saturday. Saturday the 14th at 1:59 p.m. Eastern.
Well, knowing Darkwing, it's probably
randomizer.
neither. It's probably Friday the 16th is when it actually is.
That's possible.
Also isn't a day.
Yeah, that also makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. So, what else to do there?
Yeah, I should point out that they're doing, I think on the Speedruns live channel, they're doing something Saturday afternoons, every Saturday afternoon, I think, for the next month or two. During the Mystery Tournament, they're going to be highlighting some of these races.
Oh, Mystery games,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was there anything else? I feel like there was more, but I don't know.
As far as official announcements go, I guess the Southern Speedrunning Summit that's coming up in a couple weeks.
2 weeks.
Is something to check out.
20th.
Yeah.
And the channel for that is Southern Speedrun Summit.
No, I believe it's Southern Speedruns.
Just Southern Speedruns? Okay.
Yes,
Southern
it's
Speedruns on Twitch?
In Virginia.
It is.
Yeah.
In Southwest Virginia. Not
very specific.
Southwest Virginia.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Southwest.
The southwest.
You go to West Virginia and looking for it, you're not going to
Yeah,
find
it's in the southwest of Virginia, the state.
Well, we're also at capacity, so don't come look for it,
Right.
unfortunately.
Well, I mean, you could still go
At somebody's
looking.
house. It's not at a hotel or anything.
You
so.
could still go looking, but I mean, you know. We're gonna find someone for you to raid.
Sure.
Yeah, we will.
We're gonna play some ads at the end of the show. We still haven't done anything with our subscriber thing, so if you have subbed to us, thanks very much, but you're not getting much for your money at the moment. Except for supporting us a bit, but we'll get...
For being awesome.
Yeah.
It's its own reward.
Except for being
a great
great.
person is its own reward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as everyone else knows about it. And that's the important part, right, guys?
That is the important.
I wouldn't know. Let's see. Oh, I got an SGL announcement. We have SGL scheduled for next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time on this channel right here. And the game is going to be Power Blade 2, which is an excellent speed game if you've never played it. Power Blade 2. So make sure to check that out, 4 p.m. right here. We've got players are Dragon Dark, JD, and Nighty, and Mid Boss. So all very talented people who are pretty high ranked in SGL. So this is going to be a high caliber episode, I'm sure.
Nice.
So go ahead and check that out. Also, we have a new Twitter account for SGL. It's Speed Gaming Show on Twitter. So go follow that and see if you can get the word out.
Throw that in that Twitch chat for you.
Yeah, I'll throw it in the chat in a second, but I'm waiting for it to sync up after the stream delay.
All right. Good stuff.
Look at this guy.
Look at this next level. Next level.
That.
I know. He's got the strats.
Yep, strats. And we also have a YouTube that's set up with the same name, but it's not quite ready yet. But pretty soon all the episodes of SGL are going to be up there very soon.
For TSSB, we have some episode ideas and plans. There's one that Shadow of the Ninja I forgot to tell you guys about.
Oh, yeah.
Charlie on and Blecky would be down for a Shadow of the Ninja episode at some point. And we had some more.
Still trying to work out a Kaizo episode.
And Kaizo at some point when Carl Sagan stops being harder to contact than the Carl Sagan who's dead. It's not too soon. I'm allowed to make that joke. Yeah, so we
also got a Super Puzzle Fighter episode coming up.
Oh, have we?
Possibly next week.
Oh my god, how exciting! I love that game.
But yeah, that's gonna be happening with Blue Bomber and DK28.
For those of you in America, you may have noticed that you've changed your clocks. Due to me not being able to do the show an hour earlier, we are making it at the same time for Europeans for now. It's going to be still at midnight Europe GMT and 1 a.m. CET, but it's going to be at 8 p.m. Eastern time and 5 p.m. That's right, Pacific time, until the clocks change in our European land of loveliness.
Until Europe gets off their ass and changes the... No.
Yeah, so that is the 29th.
Come on.
So for the next 2 weekends, it will be an hour later for you Americans who have changed your clocks. So you get 1 more hour to eat dinner and pretend you like your family before you come heading over to Twitch to check out TSSB.
Yes, it's
Yeah. So there you go. Right.
Real family.
You two figure out someone to raid. You guess can help. Thanks again to MLSTRM and Lewd for being on the show. You'll have to let us know when the relay is and we will get that advertised.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you for having us.
Yeah,
Okay, sure. That's fine.
Yeah, sure. I guess I could have made time.
Yeah. But yeah, of course, thanks for being on. This is our first actual Final Fantasy episode. Yeah. So good job.
And it won't be your final one.
Whoa. Nice one.
Whoa.
Do we have a raid target, guys?
I'm looking. Hold on.
We're looking. We're looking. I'm going to look too. What do we got? Who could we raid? And also raid. Oh boy. Wow, that guy's playing that game? Dang. I did not expect
You're not even looking at anything right. You just pulled that out of nowhere. Oh, that guy's playing that game.
That guy.
Dude.
That game.
That famous game, man, is being played by this runner? That's outrageous. Make sure I don't
Right, and then a
bit.
bit.ly
All the time
link.
with Flicky.
And then a bit.ly. bomb choose /
Flicky, you paused
something.
the timer again.
Did I? That's alright. I wrote a P. Let's find out. Gonna find someone who's running the game.
Scarpets is doing Star Fox.
Because we just announced that it was this. Got him doing.
Go on, you could do it.
There we go. That. How's that look?
Oh, sure.
Since
Yeah.
we just announced there's a race coming up for that, let's
Sure.
go watch Jay Kofer do some Zelda randomizer races.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Go for it.
All right.
Write a raid
I also
message.
understand exactly what the randomizer does.
Yeah, we're gonna run the ads and then we're gonna host him because I was told we should host. So
Yes, we should host.
thanks again to our guests, and we'll mute you guys when you said goodbye. Go on, go for it. If you don't say goodbye, I'm just gonna mute anyway. I'm not gonna wait.
See you guys.
Goodbye. Love you. I mean, bye.
The Sunday sequence break.